I lit a candle, and Lola's like smelling it from 5 feet away. She seems concerned. It's like cinnamon, vanilla spice or something. No, it's one of my favorites. Cinnamon spice vanilla. That's just my candle holder. I've had this for a few years now. I love it. Alright, Peter, this is your book. Do you want to start us off? No. Yeah. Hey, Peter. I'm Victoria. Can't hear Peter. Yeah, I don't know why it's not picking up. No, it's gonna be an OBS thing for sure. I just don't know why. It's not picking up anything.
You want us to keep talking?
Yeah. Oh.
Tell us about your weekend. How did the trine? Is it trine or trine?
It's Trine, I think. I've been calling it Trine.
I always thought it was trine, but then I'm sure I've heard people call it trine.
How does it sound, Daddy?
Do we sound amazing?
Can you hear all of us?
Do we sound normal? Are we too quiet? Am I too quiet? Is Peter too quiet? Well, he's not talking right now, but I'm trying to keep talking so I can get an assessment. Are we dead? Are you dead?
Oh no.
Hello?
Physically or spiritually, because I've been dead since about 1997 on the inside.
Oh man, I was barely alive.
Alright, she says
everything sounds good. We're good. We're good.
Awesome.
Should we begin again? Should we pretend that didn't happen?
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay. So we're coming out of the opening titles, out of the VT, and hello and welcome to today's episode of VT and Tales Tavern Book Club. My name is Peter, and we are going to be discussing some fucking books.
Woo!
Joining me as always are who's over there? Jam.
Are you pointing at me?
I don't know because on Discord you're different. Okay,
on the stream.
Up above me, Jam.
I'm Jam. Blue clovers. Yes.
And kind of that direction.
Almost.
That direction.
That way.
That direction.
Other way, Peter.
Other way. Oh.
There you
go. That way. There we go. Yeah.
I'm Victoria. Hi.
Wait, you can't see my finger. I'm just doing really awful actions at the edge of the screen. Hang on. I need to make sure that you see. I do have a finger here. See. Okay.
Flirt a little.
So this month's book was The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. It was my choice, and I've completely forgotten how. Do we say what we thought about it, then go into the recap, or what happens first?
You know, one day I'll write this down, the order of things.
Yeah.
I think
one day we'll have a plan.
I think recap first.
No, wait. Why you chose the book?
Oh,
why
yeah.
I chose the book.
And
Yes.
what you knew about the book, and then recap.
Okay. The reason I chose this book is because we've had murder, we've had fairies, we've had Satan, and so I thought it might just be nice to have something fun and a little bit weird and out there, and so that's why I chose Hitchhikers. I was originally going to choose another sci-fi book called Red Dwarf: Infinity Welcomes Careful Drivers, but Hitchhikers is more accessible, I think. Like, although maybe you can be the judge of this, because I felt going through Hitchhikers this time, I felt there was an awful lot of what would be considered British references, and I don't know how well they'd work on an international audience. Was anyone ever confused by any references or anything?
I don't remember a lot of references right now. I feel like I probably got most of them.
Yeah.
If anything, I was like thrown off by like the mannerisms that people were like, how they were saying things. Sentences. It's just like, what the fuck's going on?
Yeah, everybody is
I got
very
it.
short with each other in this book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel
Which
like I've
is
watched so much like British media that, like, I watch so much Doctor Who.
Right.
So I feel like a lot of their thing, like, and I watch a lot of like
Yeah.
British YouTubers.
So
So it's not like
absolutely on
so
board with
out
it.
there. Maybe if like we were American, it might be like totally different. But I feel like Canada's like fairly similar.
Yeah. Like, we
Yeah,
are,
this
like,
American hate on YouTube. No.
at the moment it's like Britain, Canada, trapped in an empire together. That's us. I said what I said. Come at me, Charles. So that's why I picked the book. I just thought it might be fun and something a little bit different, a little bit out there, a little bit whoa, a little bit way, a little bit, you know. What did you think of the book initially? Let's begin thumbs up or thumbs down. Did you like the book?
We don't do that till the end.
Did we not do it? No,
You gotta keep it a surprise.
Yeah.
Love a surprise. Okay, so into the recap, and I'm going to need some assistance with this because I feel it's quite a wandering book. Like, it does go weird places.
Yeah. It kind of hops all over the place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't take a lot of notes though, but I'll see what I remember.
I'm so excited for the notes. Like, every book club, I'm like, ooh, they've got notes, and somebody's gonna say something brilliant. I love the notes. The notes are my favorite. So, the narration kind of goes between somebody talking about the Hitchhiker's Guide, which, depending on which media you take in, is the guide itself, because this exists over about 8 different medias. He says, holding up 5 fingers. Like, it originally started as a radio show, then it became a book, then a computer game, and a TV show, and various other things. And every single version of it is different. There is no definitive guide to Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, because deliberately, the creator Douglas Adams was like, every single one is going to be different, just because. So it starts with the Hitchhiker's Guide talking about Earth, and how Arthur Dent is on Earth. And then we meet Arthur, who is, I don't think his age is ever said, but kind of early 30s, late 20s, early 30s, and he's just kind of, he exists. He gets up, does his job, goes to the pub, comes home. Typical. There's a part of me wants to say typical English, but I don't know how bad that would sound. But that kind of, Arthur is very English as opposed to very British, I would say. Although there's not much difference, we all British. Hooray. So Arthur wakes up one morning and he discovers that his house is going to be knocked down, which is bad for him because he lives in his house and he likes his house. So he goes outside and he's yelling at the foreman of the construction, like, don't pull down my house, don't pull down my house. And it turns out the plans for the house have been on the plans have been on display for about 6 months, and they're going to build a bypass. Which I don't entirely know what a bypass is. Like, I know it's a road, and it, like, takes you round places. Like, I don't entirely know what a bypass is. I guess it's just like a motorway.
Yeah, I imagine it like a highway, essentially.
Yeah.
And then the book just describes it as like you go from point A to point C and you bypass point B.
Okay.
So I just imagine it's just like I'm imagining from like the Canadian view, where it's just like one of those massive highway roads on a bridge. But I guess this isn't on a bridge because it's knocking through this guy's house.
Well, you have to knock down the houses to build the bridge because you need all your support beams.
Yeah. That's
Also,
true. So maybe...
I feel like Arthur had a really good lawsuit there, and he just didn't take advantage of it.
Yeah.
I mean,
Arthur.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if what's about to happen hadn't happened, Arthur could have sued them for every penny they had.
Exactly.
This is the point where we meet a character called Ford Prefect. And Ford Prefect is a little bit not quite right. Something's not quite right with Ford. Because, should I spoil it now or should I spoil it later?
You can spoil it now.
I'll
They
spoil
spoil
it
it
now.
pretty early in the book.
Yeah, they say it like
Yeah.
as soon as you meet him.
That's true. They do say that Arthur is not Arthur. What's his name? Ford. Ford is from a planet called Beetlejuice, and he's an alien. And he is a roving reporter for the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. And he has picked up on his machine, the name of which escapes me, it's like a sensomatic or something, that something called the Vogons are coming to destroy the planet. So Arthur's having a bit of a to-do with the fellow who wants to knock down his house. And Ford is like, no, Arthur, you need to come with me. We need to go to the pub because your house is fine. And this is actually one of my favorite parts of the book, when Ford gets the constructor guy to lay down where Arthur was in the ground. And it's like, that is pretty fantastic talking that Ford managed to convince his guy to lay down in front of Arthur's house. So Ford takes Arthur to the pub where they drink 3 pints each as a relaxant and gets some peanuts because that'll help Arthur relax when the planet's destroyed. And it's at that point that the Vogons come into the picture. And this is one of my favorite quotes in the book. Their spaceships were hanging in the sky in the way a brick doesn't. That's one of my favorite quotes.
Yes.
And so it turns out that while Arthur's house is being destroyed to make a bypass, Earth is due to be destroyed because the space government, the intergalactic government, are building a bypass through the Milky Way, through the solar system, and Earth is in the way, and humanity has had 6 months to find the plans in the intergalactic planning department. Humanity never bothered. So, boof. Earth is gone. End of the book. So what did you think of it? How did you rate it?
The end of the book.
Yeah,
The end.
that's
Yeah.
where
It was
it
just the
ended.
beginning of their story.
Yeah, very short. So, spoilers, it turns out that Arthur and Ford are not dead because Ford takes Arthur and they hitchhike aboard the Vogon ship. Meanwhile, this is where it jumps around a bit. Meanwhile, on the other side of the galaxy, we meet a character who is the president called Zaphod Beeblebrox, whose name I've never been able to pronounce. Zaphod Beeblebrox. He is the president of the galaxy. And would you believe it if I told you that the president is a fucking idiot? Can you imagine that? People voting in a president who's an absolute fucking clown shoe, an absolute legitimate moron, and they just make him president.
What's worse about it is, I feel like the president of, a country is somehow, I want to say, like, because he's the president of the galaxy, he has to be severely dumbed down. Like, it just gets worse the more you're a president of. Like, president of the world is worse than a president of the country, and the president of the galaxy is just doesn't know what he's doing.
Yeah, like, he literally just goes from place to place to place, and it's like, bright colors. So we meet Zaphod, and it turns out that this is kind of mentioned in the book, so it's not a spoiler, but Zaphod was voted in because he was a literal idiot. Apparently there are 6 people, I'm almost going to hold up 5 fingers again, there are 6 people who have the true power in the galaxy, and the president is just there to distract from what those 6 people are doing. Except for Zaphod has a different plan. Zaphod plans to steal a spaceship called the Heart of Gold. And, spoilers, he manages it. End of book. So what did you think of that? That's going to keep getting funnier and funnier the more I do it.
It was very entertaining. We also have to mention Trillian.
Yes,
She's
Trillian is
at this
there.
time.
Yes, absolutely. So I completely forgot Trillian. I forget when she comes into it, but that's where we meet Trillian.
Mm-hmm.
Slash Trisha. So they managed to steal the Heart of Gold. And the reason they want the Heart of Gold is because it has something called... Just 2 seconds. The infinite improbability drive. I literally made a note of that because I knew I would never remember it. What is the infinite probability drive? We'll find out in a little bit. Don't worry about it. It's cool. Pace yourselves. So meanwhile, Arthur and Ford are on a Vogon spaceship, and the Vogons are described as basically gross. Like, they're massive hulking beasts, they've got pig-like faces, and they're horrible, horrible beasts. Just bureaucratic and uncaring, and just there to do the job. And Ford and Arthur are captured by them. And is this the point where they read the poetry? I believe?
Yes. Yeah.
Right. Yes, because the Vogon captain says, listen to some of my poetry, and we'll let you go? I forget if that's the deal or not, but...
Oh,
the
Arthur
captain
gets
makes
an earfish.
Oh, that's right, the Babelfish!
I hated that.
That's right. The Babelfish, which is basically a universal translate. I completely forgot about that, thank you. The Babelfish lets you understand any language anywhere in the galaxy, and in the movie it's quite a horrific scene. Have you seen... I know Jam saw... You saw that scene in the movie, didn't you, Jam?
Up until I saw the movie, I thought the fish was a lot smaller, so I was like more acceptable of putting it in your ear, but that's fucking massive and disgusting.
Yeah, it's pretty gross.
How big is it?
It's not big, but it's too big to go in your ear. Is that?
Yeah.
Big?
And it is like a fish. It like literally kind of its way into you. So, that's when Ford gives Arthur the Babelfish, and so the Vogons want to read them their poetry, and the Hitchhiker's Guide tells us that Vogon poetry is the absolute worst thing in the universe.
It's the second worst.
Oh, the second worst.
No, it's the third worst, because humans is like the absolute worst.
Yeah.
I think there was like one specific person who was worse, but then she died, so Vogons got bumped up.
All right.
Oh, damn. Humans are still pretty bad, though.
Yeah. They named like one specific person who lives in England.
Oh, so it was still human.
Then they all died.
Human was the third worst, and then they die.
Yeah. I've been a 15-year-old emo, and I wrote poetry, so I can absolutely confirm that humans are the worst at poetry. Do you want me to go get you some? I can get you some 15-year-old
No,
poetry.
thank you.
Are you sure? Just putting that out there. So then what happens? I forget exactly what happens. The Vogon reads the poetry, and Arthur
says it's like
8
out of 10. Not that bad.
Yeah.
Oh, he's like, it's amazing. He's just like, oh, this is like the best thing I've ever read. You're so good. I love your metaphors.
And then like he bullshits his way into the meaning of the poetry and what it means for this Vogon, and then he's like, it means you just want love. And I guess that pisses him off, because then he decides to put Arthur and Ford in the, what's it called? The air...
Oh, the airlock. That's right.
Yeah.
The airlock, yes.
Yes. And Arthur and Ford get blown out to the airlock. Say it with me here. End of the book. Did you enjoy it? Okay, they get blown out into space. And that is when, by sheer improbability, sheer mathematical improbability, but not impossibility, the Heart of Gold zooms in, picks them up. Is that correct?
Yes. Yeah.
And that's when we find out that Ford and Zaphord are related. They're like third, second cousins, twice removed.
Semi-cousins.
Yeah,
That's what they say.
Yeah. So the odds of meeting are improbable, which is where we come to the infinite improbability drive, because the way the infinite improbability drive works is everything that can happen will happen. It's just a matter of finding the probability of it. And the improbability drive taps into that, and for everything that happens, it finds the things that would happen.
Mm-hmm.
Got that right, but I also feel like nobody's really going to challenge me on it if I didn't.
Well, so like I highlighted the part of the book where it was telling us like the improbability, or I guess the probability of the thing happening, I'm just like, where the fuck did they get these numbers from? So I think like saving them was 2 to the power of 276,709 to 1 against. I was like, what the fuck does this mean? How would you know that? But I guess you're an amazing improbability machine. But I was mad.
Especially as this was written in like the mid to late 70s, so you couldn't just pick up your phone and be like, oh, so Siri, what is the improbability? Like, there is no assistance from, well, I guess there were calculators and whatnot, but like, no real computing power to help prove the improbability or the probability of something. So how Douglas Adams calculated this, it's entirely possible he literally just pulled those numbers out his arse and was like, okay, this works.
That's what
he does. Yeah, that's more likely. So at this point, it's revealed that Zaphod wanted the Heart of Gold to take them to a planet called Magrathea.
I think that's how it's pronounced. I don't know.
And why did they want to go to it's never quite explained why. Well, it probably is, but maybe I just not picked it up. Why does Zaphod want to go to Magrathea?
It's told like later on.
Okay. So we shouldn't worry about it now.
Yeah.
Okay, we won't worry about it now. And
before we go too far, Trillian Trish and Arthur had also previously met at a party. So
yes,
the probability of things just decreases.
Yeah.
The improbability increases. But yeah.
The story of Arthur and Trish / Trillian is that they were at a party and Arthur was the only one who recognized that she was dressed as Dr. Livingston. And so Trillian was like, okay, this guy's cool. And at one point, Trillian, this is before she becomes Trillian, so she's still Trisha. It's the same person, just Trillian is a fancy sci-fi name, they think. Mm. So Trisha is like, come with me, let's go see the world. And Arthur's like, okay, cool. And she's like, wait, really? And Arthur's like, wait, no, I'm not going. Are you out your fucking mind? No, we're not going.
I think this part was only in the movie.
Yeah, I was like, that doesn't sound familiar at all.
Okay.
Yeah. In the book, it's just like they had met at a party and Arthur was trying to shoot his shot and it didn't go well. And that was it. That was that. Okay. But in the movie, it's like, you recognize my Halloween costume. And let's go travel the world.
Okay, because I was like, I don't remember any of that. What the hell? I was like, who's Dr. Livingston?
Now you said that, I am absolutely aware that was in the movie, so I am #fake fan.
You're a more intense fan because you knew all the things. It's fine.
Yeah. Thank you. That's why I appreciate you, Jam.
You're welcome.
So yeah, Arthur tried to shoot his shot with Trillian and it didn't work. Does it mention that Zaphod's at the party?
Yes.
In the book? Okay, because that's how Trisha and Zaphod end up together, because Zaphod is like, I literally have a spaceship, come with me, and she's like, cool, off they go. So Trillian, whose name is Trillian because it's a cool sci-fi name, and what's his name? Arthur meet up, and I nearly called him Martin because that's the guy who plays him in the film. I'm so into the film now, I'm so sorry. But yes, Arthur and Trisha meet up on the spaceship and they're like, wow, fancy being here. But Arthur doesn't tell her that Earth has been destroyed? ? He keeps that a secret at this point?
No, he tells her.
Does he?
I feel like pretty early.
He does it in the movie. He does it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I really need to get to grips with which hitchhikers we're talking about here. It's one we're having 8 different versions of something. Screw you, Douglas Adams. Said nobody ever. I'm the first person to ever say that. So he tells her that Earth is destroyed. Well, how does she react to that? What does she?
The same way that Arthur did, where she like thinks about all the people that she knew and cared about on Earth, and she's kind of like not reacting. And I don't know if that's shock for both of them or if they just really didn't give a fuck.
Yeah. Okay. If it were me, I'd just be, I don't give a fuck.
It's like, well, what can you do now? It's gone. They're dead. The world's gone. Oh well. Yeah. She has her mice.
Yeah, she has her mice.
She does have her mice. Yes, she has her mice. Who are Frankie and Benji?
I think
Frankie and Benny?
So.
I believe are their names.
It is now.
Oh. Yeah, it is now. Come at us, Douglas Adams. So she's got her mice, and Zaphod does the improbability drive again to take them to Magrathea, because Magrathea is considered to be a lost planet. Nobody's heard from the Magratheans in donkey's years. Like, it's vanished, it's gone. Nobody knows where Magrathea is. And the theory is that because nobody knows where it is, the Heart of Gold, with its improbability drive, will take them to it. And so Zaphod presses the drive, and that's when you find out that the drive... You become a penguin, you become various other things, various shapes, and you're stretched all across time and space. It's like it's a weird reaction the improbability drive has. Because I remember one line where Arthur says to Ford, you're becoming a penguin, stop it.
Yep.
Which is a brilliant line. Like, imagine somebody becoming a penguin, you're just like, stop it. Okay. So what? They don't go directly to Magrathea, do they? Do they?
They go in the book, because I know at this point in the movie it's like kind of differs.
Mm-hmm.
In the book, they end up in like a dark nebula, I guess, and they can't see anything. And then they kind of look around, and then there's, I guess, the scanner of the ship picks up this one item. I guess that's the planet that they're trying to go through. And I think in the movie they go to some other person's planet and shit happens.
Yeah. They go
But that didn't happen in the book.
No. In the movie, they go to a planet, because in the movie, that's when they get, like, if they think, they get slapped in the face, which is, again, hysterical. Because you need to try not to think, and so the moment you try not to think, they just get beaten up with these, basically, shovels that come out of the ground. It's never really explained, but you think, smack in the face.
Yeah, I was wondering why that happened.
Yeah.
What are these? But yeah,
yes.
So in the book, they end up at this planet that, I mean, Ford doesn't think it's Magrathea because everyone thinks it's a myth because no one's heard of it for so long. No one's been able to find it, but, you know, they have the improbability drive, so they found it on their first try.
They're so talented.
They're wonderful.
So,
it's like if we went to find a planet, we would absolutely find it first try.
Yep.
I believe that.
And so they, like, start to descend into this planet, and then they receive a very old recording that essentially tells them, like, hey, the planet's closed for business, come back when we open. But Zaphod's like, fuck that, we're gonna go infiltrate this planet. And they receive another recording saying, like, we love that you're so interested in our business, but we're closed. And they continue anyways. And so the next recording they get is just saying that, you know, they've been sent some, I guess, like, complimentary missiles.
Yeah, they were very nice about it.
They were very lovely.
Nice.
Like, I hope if someone's ever going to blow me out of the sky, then they're as nice about it as the Magratheans were. That's all I can ask for. So, they are at Magrathea, but is that when they engage the drive again?
Yes.
To get away from the missiles?
Yeah, because I think they tried manually flying the ship, because the computer says that he can't do it. He doesn't have any defensive maneuvers. And then he starts singing.
What else are you going to do in that situation?
Yeah.
He's like, I can't do anything, so I'm just going to sing.
Yeah.
It's like the Titanic. You know it's inevitable, so you got to go out with music.
Yeah. At this point, have we met Marvin? Has Marvin... I don't believe Marvin's...
Yeah, we meet Marvin when Arthur and Ford, like, first get on the ship, because Marvin has to go down to pick them up, but I forgot about Marvin, which would make him sad, but he would understand.
He would absolutely understand. That is the most Marvin thing we could have done to Marvin.
I feel so bad now. Yeah.
I mean, forget about me. It's not like I'm a character in the book or anything. Not like I'm vitally important. God, forget about me and their book report. That's my audition to be Marvin.
You're hired.
Thank you. I appreciate that. My people will call your people.
Anytime.
So, the improbability drive does two things. Turns the missiles into a whale and a potted plant.
Yes.
And in the movie, the potted plant isn't really much considered, but in the book, it's given a touch more information because the whale doesn't know where it is, so it's trying to make things up. It's like, oh, what's happening? Where am I? I'm flying. I'm falling. It doesn't know what's happening. whereas the plant says 2 words. No, it doesn't. It says 4 words. It says, "Oh no, not again." What that means, you'll find out in a future book.
Oh.
So, with the missiles gone, they eject a craft to land on Magrathea? Is that when we go down to the planet?
I think so.
It's because I'm very thinking about the film, and they go a couple of other places in the film before they end up on Magrathea. So I'm like, is that when they end up here? Is that when they end up
Yeah,
there?
they go like directly to the planet. The whale falls and splatters, and then they land. Like they crash land, and then the book talks about somebody getting a bruise, but it won't tell us who got the bruise. And then Trillium's like, my mice have escaped. I can't find them. And then they go walking on the planet.
Yeah. Which at this point, has it been proved if it's Magrathea or not? Like, it's still just a random planet at this point. It could be Magrathea, it could not be.
Yeah, because there's literally
It's kind of been proven because in the announcements, they're like, this is Magrathea.
Oh, right,
but
yeah.
Ford's still like, that's bullshit. They could just be lying. So they haven't gotten proof.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, again, I'm probably thinking of the movie. At this point, Ford, Zaphod, and Trillian find a gateway that they go through.
The whale corpse basically made a big hole in the ground, and so then they go down the hole into a series of tunnels.
But Arthur doesn't go because he's scared, right?
No, he's the guard.
Okay,
Arthur and Marvin are the guard.
Which is exactly right. I would trust Marvin with my life. Oh God, imagine that. Imagine Marvin having to be on, like, properly guard duty.
Never would. Although he did do a good job in the end.
He did. Marvin is... Marvin had the hustle in the end.
Mm-hmm.
So, that's when an old man approaches Arthur?
I'm trying to remember how. I think he just saw an old man in the distance. He went for like a walk because he was trying to like talk to Marvin, and it just wasn't going well. And then he went for a walk.
Oh, sorry. They talk about Zephyr's brain, and now he's concerned about it.
Yes. Because it's kind of revealed that something had happened to Zaphod's brain, like some kind of control had been put on it, and Zaphod agreed to it. But he has no idea what happened. I hope you're not expecting a conclusion to that storyline. As far as I know, that vanishes. Forget all about that.
I think in the book it says that like he's trying to discover like what's happened to his brain, so he like scanned it and did a bunch of tests, and then he finds out that part of it had been cut off, and he knows who did it because they left their initials, and it's his initials, so it's like he did it to himself. But in the movie, it's like, well, to be president, you have to go through this surgery or we cut off this part of your brain and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, in the book, it's like, I did this to myself, and I'm not really sure why, and it's kind of the reason why I can't really focus on things. The end.
Yeah, because Zaphod is a massive ball of chaotic madness energy, isn't he? Which is brilliant, but also terrifying.
Well, there is a reason that we learned of why he did it. He didn't just do it for funsies.
Do we?
Yeah.
I want to know. When do we find out the reason?
Is
it coming up?
Closer to the end.
Okay. I'm very excited now. I'd never thought there was a conclusion to that. So I see it corrected.
Yeah, no, we find out why he did it.
That's so cool. Amazing. So Arthur sees the man in the distance who is Slarty Bartfast. Which, while finding out about this character, Douglas Adams wanted to make a name as rude as possible that could still slide past the BBC censors. So it's like when you go to a tannoy and it's like, could you put out a call for Haywood Jablomi? That's what Douglas Adams wanted to do with Slarty Bartfast. And it was I forget the original name, it was something like Slutty Butt something or another. But obviously the BBC caught on and was like, no, so he incrementally took it back until it became Slarty Bartfast. And that's the origin of that character.
I was trying to understand why he was so upset about like his name and saying it wasn't important. I was like, it seems okay, it's just an alien name.
Yeah, I didn't get it either.
Yeah, just alien name. Yeah, I think that's because the radio show came before the novel, and I think, as I said, Douglas, the BBC kept being like, no, quite rightly so, because Douglas Adams was trying to pull a fast one on them, and he got caught. You fuck around, you find out. And so I think that Slarty Bartfast's reaction was Douglas's way of being like, this is the BBC stopping me. There, I'm mad about it. So Slarty Bartfast tries to take Arthur somewhere?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm not sure how he was able to identify Arthur as an Earthman, like, immediately.
Magic.
And just magic. He's like, come
Space
with me,
magic.
Earthman. Let's go on a drive. And he takes him to...
Oh, first he tries
There.
threatening him. That was a fun
Oh,
It was
he
a very
becomes-
gentle threat.
time. Yeah. And he's like, you're gonna be late. And Arthur says, what?
That's right.
Late for what? And he's like, you're gonna be the late Arthur Dent. Because that's how
Yes,
Arthur
because
told
Arthur
him his
introduces
name.
himself as Arthur Dent, so
Yeah.
Slarty Bartfast thinks his name is Dent Arthur Dent, which is fucking hilarious. And the late Dent Arthur Dent is, again, one of those brilliant jokes in the book, but I'm like, chef's kiss. So, because I know that it's Slarty Bartfast who takes Arthur down to the Magrathian production line, because it turns out the Magrathians were planet creators. They make custom-built planets for people. And the reason nobody's seen from them in many, many years is because the galaxy went bankrupt. And the Magrathians were like, well, if they can't afford us, we're not going to kick around. We're going, fuck you guys. We'll be back when you've got money. And is this when you find out about Earth, or is that later?
That they made it?
Yes.
I
And
think
why
this-
they made it.
The part where... Because the story kind of splits for a bit, because there you have Ford and
Yeah.
Sapon, and
Hmm.
I think it goes back to the other team for a bit, but I honestly don't remember what happened. Like, I think they got gassed.
Yeah, this
That's
is
right,
like
they're
roughly
And then
where
it
you
flips
figure
back
it
to the
out.
other guy.
Yes. That's right. They're investigating, and do they see the mice? Is that what gasses them, or am I going too far ahead? Because the mice
I'm
are
pretty
important.
sure the mice gassed them, but I don't remember if they saw it. They kind of just... There was gas.
Yeah.
And then they were unconscious. And then when they wake up, they see the mice. But
Okay, yes, with you now. So while that's happening, the mice have knocked out Ford, Trillian, and Trisha. Ford, Trillian, and Trisha? Ford, Trillian, and
they fought.
Zaphod, yes.
Zaphod?
That's
I say Zaphod. Zaphod, Zaphod, let's call the whole thing off. So Slarty Bartfast takes Arthur down to the workshop where he shows all the planets that have been built. And it turns out Earth was built as an experiment. Earth was custom built by these people who wanted to find the answer to the ultimate question of life, the universe, and everything. So they built a massive computer called Deep Thought. And Deep Thought was like, okay, yeah, I'll find the answer to that, but it's going to take a little while. And it takes the millennium to find out. Like, does it say how long it takes Deep Thought to find out?
It does. It's like a long ass time.
Like
Yeah, we'll
700 and something million years.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Like the original
So we
people
say-
are dead and gone.
Oh, long gone, long dead by then. So Deep Thought goes into process, and they're thinking away. We don't quite know what gender Deep Thought is, so we will not assume Deep Thought's pronouns. So Deep Thought is thinking away, and 700 million years passes, and everyone gathers because they're like, this is the answer to the ultimate question. This is fucking it. We will find the answer to life, the universe, and everything. So they go up to Deep Thought and we're like, oh, mighty Deep Thought, you have had 700 million years to think. What is the answer to life, the universe, and everything? And Deep Thought says 42.
Mm-hmm.
That's the answer to life, the universe, and everything. 42. Again, it's one of my favorite parts of the book because it's so pedantic, and it's something I would do if I was a big computer.
It's
Like,
just
they
the
asked
most
for the
underwhelming answer to get.
yes, And they asked for the answer, but they didn't ask what the question was that makes 42. And that's just fucking hilarious to me. Like, you wanted this, you've got it. So, we know the answer, 42. And I believe people aren't too happy about that.
Yeah. So they're like upset about it because they're like, well, how is that the answer? And the computer's like, well, you don't know the question. So they're like, well, what's the question? And then the computer's like, I can't tell you that, but I can tell you who can. They're like, who can tell me the question? They're like, the next computer you're gonna build.
That's right, yes. And so Deep Thought gives them the plans for the ultimate computer, even more powerful than Deep Thought. And that computer was Earth. Spoilers, plot twist, dum dum dum. And
Oh, I think at this point they did mention it was the mice that paid for Earth.
Yeah.
yes, that's when it's revealed that the mice used to be these people who have evolved into mice.
I don't really remember how the mouse thing came to happen, to be
They-
honest.
Said that so the mice are like the species of alien and they kind of live in a different dimension, but they can exist on Earth like interdimensionally in this form of a mouse, but I don't know what they actually look like in their dimension.
Right.
But they're rich, so they paid for this.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's when it's revealed that the mice paid for Earth, and the mice have been allowing humans to run experiments on them, whereas in reality, the mice have been running experiments on the humans because humans were part of the battery that makes the computer. I know humans had an integral part of operating the computer, which was Earth, and that's why they needed humans. Just doing a wee boogie here.
Not sure if that was something explained in the book, because at this point I like wasn't watching the movie part, so I don't know what was said in the movie. But I think in the book, like later on, they're gonna go into the fact that like the humans were kind of like the experiment, because you know how humans think they're the ones experimenting on the mice to do all these things, but it's the mice that's experimenting on the humans. And so because humans are part of the organic matter of the computer, they need the human brain for the question.
Right. So that's when we discover that they were quite close to finding out the answer. Like, the computer that was Earth was really, really close to finding out the answer, but then, the Vogons destroyed it.
Yeah, I think it was like 5 minutes away.
Was it
Yeah,
I knew
very
it was
close.
Yeah.
Stupidly close.
Amazing. Yeah. So we'll never find out the answer. Or will we? Because I'm so stupid. I'm sorry. Slarty Bartfast takes Arthur down to the production floor, and they see all the other planets that the Magrathians have made. And there, somewhere tucked away in the back of the workshop, is an exact replica of Earth, like a backup. Like the computer makes backups, and that was a backup of Earth. And is that when we go back to Trillian, Ford, and Zaphod, and they're captured by the mice?
Yeah, so in the book they're like working on Earth 2.0.
Yeah.
But they then whatever the fuck his name is.
I just in my notes he's just old man. Because I was like, I'm not writing this over and over.
Slarty Bartfast.
Old man.
Just on that man's name when you say it.
So he takes Arthur back to his friends because I think they were like late for a lunch or a dinner or something like that. And yeah, they reunite. Marvin's still somewhere. Marvin's not there. So it's Arthur, Trillian, Zaphod, Ford, and the mice. And they're just having a nice chit chat. And then, yeah, the mice are like, because you are a human, you were on Earth pretty much up until it was destroyed. We would like your brain so we can, figure out the question. Even if it's fake, at least we can try. We got something for all of this work.
Yeah, at this point they just don't care what the actual question is. We're like, we will just take anything just to get it off our backs. Just fucking Give us something. We don't care.
Yeah.
So,
I think at first Arthur was going to agree to it until they were said, like, you have to, like, cut out your brain. We got to dissect it. You know, we got to process it to get the question, the answer, and the question. And they're like, no. And the mice are not happy with that. And so the four of them run for their life.
well, that's when the alarm starts going off. And that's
Yeah.
why the mice are like, oh, you know what, fuck it, we're just gonna make up an answer and leave.
And then the alarm is because it's the police.
Fucking law dogs, get out of here.
It's
Oof,
the
oof,
Galaxy
law dogs.
Police. Which, that part confused me, and I don't know if it's because I was just reading so fast by that part, because I was like, oh, I'm almost done the book. But it's like, how did they track down the Heart of Gold? Because this is like the Galaxy Police that's after Zaphod for stealing the Heart of Gold.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, how did you find them in this nebula that no one's ever been able to find before? And this planet that no one's been able to find before? How the fuck are you here? Essentially.
Magic.
But yeah.
Which is a good question. So, are they back on Earth 2.0 at this? We'll call it Earth 2.0 for the sake of argument. Are they back on
No.
Earth 2.0
They
at this
never
point?
do. Like,
They
it's
don't
still
go
being
back.
made.
Okay.
So, like,
I
what
know
happens
they
at
do.
this point is, like, they're running for their lives. There's a huge shootout. And the Popo is like, we don't want to shoot you, but we have to shoot you. And then suddenly they kind of just stop shooting. And they go to see what's going on. And their spacesuits kind of just imploded. Not imploded, but, like, the chips stopped working. And so they suffocated. And the probability of that happening is, like, non-existent. Well, it's not non-existent, but it's, like, non-existent.
Mm-hmm.
And so they're not sure what happened. So they go back to the Heart of Gold. They see that the ship that the police arrived on is also dead. And they're like, what the fuck? That's odd. And it turns out it's because Marvin was bored and decided to have a chat with the ship. And he plugged himself into the ship. And the ship was like, I can't live. I can't deal with this robot talking to me. And it committed suicide, which caused the chips in the officer's, like, spacesuit to also just implode. And yeah. And so he's sad because no one wants to talk to him. And so the book essentially ends with them flying off the planet. And Zaphod asks Arthur, it's like, hey, are you hungry? We'll stop at the restaurant at the end of the universe. The end.
But don't we restore Earth by this point? Like, they bring back Earth, put it back where... Do we not? Oh, that's...
No.
Okay. That must be a
That's just-
construct... Yeah, that must be a construct of spoilers, the film. Okay. So they head off to the restaurant at the end of the universe, which is, coincidentally, book 2, the name of book 2 of Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. So...
Wait, before that,
Oh.
I want to ask, was this... At what point did we find out about Zaphod, the reason why he cut his brain out? Was this at the end?
Yes.
Hold on. Okay. Page 155, Zaphod wakes up from being gassed. This is when they're still in the... You guys skipped over quite a bit, I'm gonna be honest.
Oh, God.
Uh-oh.
Why didn't you stop us?
I was like, I don't know how detailed you wanted it to be, but, like, I got notes, man. Like,
Damn, go through your notes.
Oh my God.
My notes start at 158.
I
have,
my
like,
God.
4 things.
I don't know, you guys seem to be in a groove. I didn't want to interrupt.
Okay, I want Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy Victoria's version now.
Alright. Do you want me to start from the beginning?
Yes. Every single word you wrote.
Okay, I'm not gonna do every word. I'll go fast. Okay, so I started with a quote. Because I thought it was fun, I guess. Lots of the people were mean, and most of them were miserable. Even the ones with digital watches. That one made me giggle. I liked that. Then the council wants to knock down Arthur's house and build a bypass. It was... What? Oh, it was raining, and he's hungover. And then he lays in front of the bulldozer, and Poser tells him that he can't stay there forever. And then I just have the quote, "I'm game," from Arthur. So like, he was willing to stay there for his house.
Yeah. I'm game. We'll see which one of us rusts first.
Yep. The plans were on display in the planning office cellar in the bottom of a locked filing cabinet in a disused bathroom with a "Beware of the Leopard" sign on door. Oh, and I think maybe this is where we find out he was like a radio host. And then I put, is Arthur Dent actually Peter? And then this is when Ford goes to Arthur's house to chat. He convinces the construction guy to lay down in front of the bulldozer while they head off to the pub. Ford tells Arthur and the bartender the world's gonna end in... I have 710 minutes. I don't know what number that was supposed to be. I think it's supposed to be 10.
With Arthur, it's like 12 minutes, and when they get to the bar, it's like 10 minutes.
Yeah, I don't know where that 7 came from. Or, less than. It's less than 10 minutes. That makes more sense.
It's the less than sign.
So I did the less than sign, but it's kind of crooked, so it looks like a 7.
Oh.
Okay.
I figured it out. My writing is very messy. And then they order the 6 pints, 3 each. There's some dude at the end of the bar who, like, sees the 6 pints, and he's like, I want one of those. And Arthur's like, fuck you, that's mine.
In the movie, it was so odd because there's just old woman. She's just looking at them the whole time. And Ford and Arthur are talking, and she's just in the background staring at them. Like, is she an actress? She's doing real bad because she just looks like a random person who doesn't know they're filming, and she's staring at the camera and at them, and she's not saying a fucking word. It's like the scene lasted for 5 minutes of her just staring like what the fuck? It made me so uncomfortable. Anyways.
Yeah. Oh, and then they knock down Arthur's house, and then the bartender finally believes Ford. Arthur goes running home. The construction workers are running away, and he doesn't notice that, like, shit's going down. He's just so focused on his house. And then I put, Vogons are the ones landing on Earth, ? Yes. Yes, they are. Earth and solar system are being demolished for a hyperspatial express route. Less than 2 Earth minutes. Probably in less than 2 Earth minutes. The plans were on display for 50 years in Alpha Centaur. Sure. I don't think that's the word. Probably Center.
In the planning office at Alpha
I think it's Alpha Centauri.
Oh, okay. That's probably... Yeah, that's what that looks like. And it's 4 light years away. And so the guy on the alien ship was like, why didn't you guys go look at the plans? They were there for 50 Earth years. And then some radio broadcast is like, we don't know how to space travel. And then Vogon was like, well, sucks to be you.
That was hilarious. The fact that Vogon was like, if you can't be bothered looking into interspatial affairs, then that's your bad news. And then he accidentally leaves a thing on at the end. He's like, oh, bloody apathetic planet. I've no sympathy for them at all.
Yeah.
It was a good part. And then they're on some other planet that starts with a D that I cannot read my own writing, which is where the Heart of Gold project took place. Topographically awkward, beautiful oceans. The reception committee consisted of engineers, researchers. Only the president can wear an orange sash. I don't know why that is relevant, but okay.
A president being orange? That had never happened.
The job of galactic president isn't to wield power, but to direct attention away from it. Zaphod is very good, and and very showy. Sure. 3 billion and 6 people are watching via a small little robot. Zaphod does not want his prepared speech. He's gonna wing it. This is when we meet Trillian.
Yeah, Trillian's just kind of a bystander in the crowd, I believe, but he kind of winks at her and whatnot.
Yeah.
Can I make a point as well? While I was reading through that and they mentioned the camera bot, I was like, that's a drone. Douglas Adams predicted a drone camera 50 years before drones were a thing. I just thought it was cool.
Trillian is a girl that Zaphod had picked up. Slim, darkish humanoid, long wavy black hair, full mouth, brown eyes, vaguely Arab. Heart of Gold is unveiled. Zed said he wants to steal it, and then he throws a bomb on the ground and runs. And this is when we're back on the spaceship. The captain is too busy to swim. They thought we needed to know that. He has green skin, and he doesn't like hitchhikers. And this is when we find out that's where Ford and Arthur are. The Heart of Gold makes hyperspatial travel unnecessary. which, if we were paying attention before, that was the whole point of the bypass and why Earth got destroyed.
Yep.
Oh, and then this is when Arthur gets his little earfish. And Earth is such a footnote in space and so irrelevant. Its entire entry in a book that rambles entirely too much is just mostly harmless. But it does get updated. Oh, it has been updated from harmless. So, we get 2 whole
Good
words.
for us.
We're great.
Yeah.
This is when the captain reads the poetry. They lie out of their asses saying it's great so that it don't get thrown into space. This is where I'm almost halfway through and I don't get the hype.
That's fair.
That's fair.
F tries to get... Ford tries to get existential with the guards in hopes of talking them out of throwing them out of the ship. And it doesn't work. They're still like, nah, I like screaming and yelling, so I'm going to throw you out anyways. And something about his aunt. And then they get saved. Sorry?
I was going to say, I remember it was like briefly a conversation about like, well, you could be doing a different job. You could do something better. And he's like, well, my aunt says this is a good job to have to start out with as a Zorgon. So, yeah. It's like, okay. I get it.
And then this is when they get saved by a passing ship. Yippee! Whatever sort of ship they're on resembles the South End. It's the Heart of Gold. Everything is weird as hell. Ford becomes a penguin, and A was losing limbs. Everything went back to normal. And then another quote I put was, anything you still can't cope with is therefore your own problem. Please relax. And that was Trillian saying that, like, some machine on the ship changes things. And she was basically saying, okay, now it's done. Everything's going back to normal. So if you're still miserable, that's on you. It's not the ship anymore. And then Beeblebox says they're on the run from the cops. 10 out of 10 for style. 25 minus several million points for good thinking in regards to picking up Ford and Arthur. This is when Marvin comes in. He goes to get them and says, no government owns the ship. It's been stolen. And he says Zephod's name, and Ford starts panicking when he hears that. And then I have a quote from Marvin saying, funny how it goes... Oh, wait, what? Funny how just when you think life can't get any worse, suddenly it does. Which is a very Marvin quote.
It's a very us quote as well.
Right? Maybe that should be our new motto. This is when Arthur recognizes Zephod, calls him Phil. They met at a party. We already went over that. The only thing Trillian brought from Earth when she came were her 2 white mice. Only Arthur actually slept that night because he was just so gosh darn tired and tuckered out. They found the most improbable planet, which is basically the equivalent of Atlantis. They made planets. Arthur wants tea. Zephod says he wants to go there for the fame and money. Ford doesn't believe him. Trillian doesn't like the look of the planet.
Trillian was onto something.
Sorry?
Trillian was onto something.
Yeah, right? She knows. She's a smart cookie. And then this is when the messages play. And then the missiles go off, and they turn into petunias and a whale. The whale corpse, then they go in. And this is when Zephyr tells Ford he doesn't know what he's looking for or if he's going crazy. I only know as much about myself as my mind can work out under current conditions, and its current conditions are not good.
Again, that could be an us quote.
That's also, there is a lot of good, like, one-liner quotes in this book. I enjoyed it. This is where we first learned about his brain. Someone cauterized synapses and traumatized those 2 lumps of cerebellum and left the ZB initials. This is when Arthur almost walks into the old man whose name I don't want to bother pronouncing. And then my side note was one more and I might, because I just think he kept fucking writing the word and it was pissing me off. I was like, I'm gonna buy this guy a freaking thesaurus. I was so angry. Like, the entire fucking book.
Strong response.
Dude, it was one of, like, my big pet peeves in reading is when an author just keeps repeating the same words over and over. And so to keep seeing like, that pisses me off. There's another author I read that used the word murmur repeatedly. Like, one time it was, like, 3 or 4 times on the same fucking page. That pissed me off. I was like, I'm done.
I feel the same way if it's, like, a description word. It's like, you can't open a thesaurus and find something else. But with, like, the I block it out. It's just like, it doesn't exist.
This is, like, I think one of, like, the great examples of, like, you can tell it wasn't written to be a book. Because verbally it wouldn't have annoyed me. Like, I wouldn't have really noticed. But because it's written down, it was pissing me off. And then the old man says they're not dead, they're sleeping. The computers were programmed to wake them up when the economy was fixed. And then he tells Arthur to go with him. This is when he threatens him. And then he says, the planet is awakening. And he says his name that I refuse to try and pronounce. Dolphins are the second most intelligent animals on Earth. They left before it was destroyed. And I'm assuming the mice were the first ones. Says they were performing experiments on humans. And that Tilian's mice had gone missing during the whole missile fiasco. This is when Arthur and... I put S. Oh, S for the old man's name. They go underground. People of M are awakening to do one extraordinary commission. Earth Mark II. S made Norway. He is very proud of Norway and his fjords.
He does love his fjords, doesn't he?
He was so happy about them. He was so happy he wanted to put glaciers in Africa. Because he was like, he just really wanted to.
So excited.
He was so happy.
And we love that level of artistic skill and detail.
Right, and then when the mice were like, "Oh no, we don't actually need it," he got so mad. And they're
all
like,
that work, he was prepped and ready to go.
They're like, "Oh, just go skiing," and he's like, "You can't go skiing on art." Yeah, he was very passionate about his craft. And then this is when we learn OG Earth was paid for by mice. And then the Great Turning On. This part also pissed me off. 2 programmers with briefcases named Lunkwell and Fook.
Oh, I forgot about them.
Yeah.
I forgot about them.
I wish I did. Computer Deep Thought describes itself as second greatest computer of all time, and this pisses off the engineers because they were like, we built you specifically to be the best one. How can you be the second best? And he refuses to answer. So, like, good for him.
Yeah.
Don't answer a man. It's fine.
Yeah.
This is when they ask the answer to life, the universe, and everything. And then they get interrupted by 2 philosophers. This is the part that pissed me off in this scene. Just, like, the dialogue, again, was not meant to be read. In a radio show, in a movie, in a TV show, it would have been fine. But just having to sit there and read line by line, I was mad. Where was I? Oh, and now it's the day of the answer, which we get 42. They need to understand the question. Only Earth can solve it. This is when Zephyr wakes up from being gassed. They're in a planet catalog to shut them up. Because I guess Tilian and Arthur was just like, they were just chit-chatting. Not Arthur. Trillian and someone was talking too much, and then they got shoved in the catalog.
Was it Ford?
Maybe.
Yes. It must have been Ford. I forgot about him. I was like, I know there's another person. So yeah,
At
I
least
guess
you remembered Marvin, though.
I remembered Marvin. Yeah, Trillian and Ford were like yelling at everyone, trying to get out, and so then the people who live on Planet M just shove them in a catalog and are like, just shut up and hang out there for a little bit. Specifically, they're on a solid gold planet. Zephyr thinks he did this to himself. Oh, this is where we learn about his brain.
Oh,
He thinks he did this to himself to keep a secret. Zephyr and Ford know the old president, pre-presidential days, it was his idea for Zephyr to steal the heart of gold, and that's why Zephyr became president, because the only way he'd be able to steal the heart of gold is if he were there on like the unveiling day, and the only way to do that is to be president. So that's why he decided to become president.
But then it's like, what's he gonna do with it after? But I guess that's a different book.
Yeah, I think that's a different book. And then Deep Thought designed Earth. So I think Deep Thought designed it like vaguely, and then maybe like the people like specifically designed like specific countries. That part I don't. It's said in the book. I don't really remember. I'm gonna be honest. Where was I? Oh, okay. It's 5 minutes away from completing the program. And then I have a note of if this program was such a big deal, because it's like a whole thing, the last like couple chapters from the Great Turning On to here, of like during the Great Turning On, the philosophers were like, oh no, you can't answer that question because then we're going to be out of jobs and we're going to protest and we're going to go on union strike and blah, 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 blah. And then that's when the computer was like, well, it's going to take me like 1,000,000,000 years. So you guys have job security, and this is how you're going to have job security, and this is what you're going to do. Blah, 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 blah. So I'm like, if this program was such a big deal, then how come no one noticed that the demolitions plans were on display for 50 years? If the mice...
That is like the biggest question I had, because like the dolphins, the second smartest species on Earth, fucking knew about it and they left, and we're trying to warn the humans, but the mice didn't know it was gonna be demolished.
And like the mice have so much money that they can pay for 2 fucking planets. They're from a different dimension. They're traveling interdimensionally. How did they not go a couple light years away and look at the plans? Like, I didn't get it. I don't know if it's explained in other books, but I was just like, I don't get it. How?
Like on the radio version or a different version, when the book is just like, they didn't know.
Yeah. And then the mice are hosting dinner. These are the same mice that Trillian brought from Earth. They say they don't need Earth too, now that they have Arthur. S is pissed. His African glaciers. Yeah, he was mad that they don't need Earth 2.0 because he was very proud of his African glaciers. The mice say that they manipulated their way onto Planet M so they could go back to their own dimension. So I think it's implied that while they were on Earth, they manipulated Trillian to taking them onto the Heart of Gold. And then while they were on the Heart of Gold, they somehow manipulated them or the computer into taking them to the planet that they want to go to. So that's how they were able to find it in one shot. Yeah. It's all the mice.
Okay. Incredible.
And then I have the mice want to buy Arthur's brain, and then everything else is...
We covered?
Yeah.
Nice.
Everything else we covered. How does Arthur talk them out of not taking his brain? That's the bit I can't remember that bit.
He doesn't talk them out of it. That's when the alarm starts going off.
Oh, okay.
So the mice are like super pissed, and they're like, no, we need it. And then Zephyr is like, oh yeah, we'll replace your brain. Oh, hold on. This part was actually funny. If I can find it. Where he was like, oh, we'll replace your brain with like a digital version.
Like a simple computer or something like that. That just says what and...
Oh yeah. You just have to program it to say what and I don't understand. And where's the T? Who'd know the difference? What? Cried Arthur.
Like, what?
See what I mean? And then Arthur's like, I'd know the difference. And Zephyr's like, you'd be programmed so that you don't know the difference. That was a good part.
Which is horrible.
Yeah.
So, do we want to take a break, then go into the what we thought of it and whatnot? Is that how we normally do it?
Absolutely. Time for a break.
Okay.
We'll be back. All right, we're here. We're live.
So excited. This is the main event.
Tell us how you really feel about this lovely old-ass novel / radio show / movie / I don't know what else it was.
Like a video game,
It was a comic book?
various other I think it was
Douglas?
a comic book.
He capitalized on this. He's like, it's gonna make me money for years.
Yeah. Which is ironic because Douglas Adams always said he hated writing. Like, as a writer, he was always like, I hate writing. I hate sitting down and doing it, which is probably why he did 8 different versions of the same thing.
Yeah. Only gotta change it a little bit each time.
Yeah, a little bit mix up. A little bit of this, a little bit of that. Want to keep it interesting for the people so they don't realize they're buying the same thing 8 times. So, did we enjoy The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy?
Do you want like the rating, or do you want to just know if I enjoyed it or not?
Just that you enjoyed it. We'll get to the rating later.
Okay, so this was the second time I've read the book. The first time I was like super young. I think it was either just before high school or just like the beginning of high school, so years ago. Couldn't tell you anything about the book before. Like, it was interesting, like rereading it and being like, oh, I remember this part, and then thinking, okay, I didn't finish the book because I don't remember anything else. And I was like, oh, I remember this part too. So, long story short, I would say I think I enjoyed the book the first time I read it a lot more than I did this time.
Okay.
And I feel like a lot of that is because I had like an infinite attention span back then. Like, I'm reading every word. I would sit still for 5 hours and like read and finish the whole book and be satisfied with life. And this time I was like, I gotta skip through this. This is too much rambling. I need to get past this part and see what else is happening. And like, I understand that was like a lot of the humor of the book, kind of just like the fun rambling on and on about some things, but it was also like, part of me was just like, is this integral to the plot? Can I skip this?
Yeah.
And so,
With
yeah. So like, I didn't hate the book. I liked it, but I didn't love it. And I think the fact that I found myself rushing through some parts is a sign that it's like, could have been. It just wasn't my cup of tea. I don't want to say it could have been better. I'm sure someone else would have like absolutely adored the book. And I clearly did the first time I read it when I was younger, but like, at this stage, no, it wasn't terrible. It wasn't earth-shattering.
I mean, it was, but in a different way. I'm so sorry.
But not for me.
Yes. Yeah. Is now when we give the ratings? Or is it? I'm sure it's after we've done the questions, isn't it? We give the ratings? Okay. Victoria, I feel like you have a thought or two about this.
What are you talking about? I have no thoughts, feelings, or opinions on this book.
Apart from
wanting to, no.
Kill the man who wrote it, who is already dead. He died in like 1999 or something. But that's a him problem, not a you problem.
I feel like...
I also felt ways about the characters, but like, Victoria first.
Yeah. I feel like I shouldn't have read it, if I'm being honest. It's just very obviously not meant to be a book. I feel like if I had have watched the show or the movie or even like listened to the radio show, I would have really enjoyed it, because a lot of like the comedic aspects, they work for those mediums. They do not work in print. And like things that if like in the book they pissed me off how they did it, but how they would have done it in like a TV show or whatever, I would have thought it's hilarious. Like, exact same thing. They wouldn't have had to change anything. But because I had to sit there and read through it, I was mad.
Yeah,
so,
I can see that.
I like
this
this
audiobook at all? Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I was wondering if maybe I should have done it as like an audiobook. Maybe I would have enjoyed. But no, I don't think I would have, because they read everything.
Yeah.
Oh. Right?
Might have been
like
better
instead
listening
of
to the radio show. Or watching the film.
Sorry?
I said it might have been better to watch the... I mean, I know this is a book club, so we can't say, go watch the film, but it might have been because I do feel you are exactly correct. Like, a lot of it is very wordy, and performed as a radio play, movie, whatever, it would have absolutely worked, and the comedic timing would have been there, but a lot of it does kind of feel too long as a novel.
And it's only 200 pages. Like, it's not a long book, and yet it still feels like they could have cut it in half.
Yeah.
So I enjoyed the story, but not the writing.
It's fair, I think.
And I don't blame Douglas Adams for that, because he wrote it as a radio show. He didn't write it as a book. So
yeah, it did. I mean, as I said earlier, it did originally start as a radio show, and they made like 6 episodes of, like, I think there's 2 series of like 6 episodes each. I may be incorrect about that, but the first series is the first, what becomes the first book, and the rest is what becomes the later books. But it was absolutely written as a radio play.
It's like when you read Shakespeare, you can tell, like, it's not meant to be read, it's meant to be watched. And so that's, like, I felt very, like, similar vibes.
Yeah.
Where, like, with Shakespeare, with his, God, I can't remember what they're called. The characters who are literally there just to make jokes. Just to, like, break the ice. There's a specific name for them. I can't remember what it's called.
Like the ones that come in, like, as the intro? Those people? I don't know what they're called either, but...
Are you thinking of a specific character?
Oh, God. No. But they're just there to be, like, the joke, basically. Like, they're just there to say
comedic relief.
Yes. Thank you. I was like, I know it's, like, a simple term, but I could not figure it out for the life of me. Thank you so much, Peter. Like, Shakespeare uses a lot of, like, comedic relief characters, and I felt like that's what he was going for as well. But those comedic relief characters do not read well. They are just annoying as fuck.
Yeah. So. In the film, and I know we're kind of skipping ahead a little bit, but in the film it's Rickman who does the voice of Marvin, and it's amazing. Which is what you'd expect Rickman to be. But I don't know, did you read it in... Because I've seen the film and the radio show and whatnot, I can hear certain character voices when I'm reading a book in my head. Did you hear any voices that sounded anything like that in your heads when you read the book, or any other book we've read so far?
It sounded like what?
That had like a specific tone, or like a specific person.
Not really. Like earlier, I was telling Victoria, like, for Marvin specifically, because he's a robot, I just imagined he had like a generic robot-y voice. So I can't imagine like any voice actor for him at all. It's just metal kind of voice.
It's like generic AI robot.
Yeah, like completely generic. And then for the Heart of Gold, I was just imagining like a more feminine voice. And that was it. For everyone else, it was kind of just all over the place with me. Simply because, I don't know, I didn't really connect with the characters.
Yeah. And did that
That's
change
part of the question.
Did that change after you've seen the film? Did you start being like, oh, I can see film Ford here in book Ford or something?
No. So like my process for like watching the film, I had started reading the book. I probably got to page 50-ish, and then I started watching the film. And then less than 15 minutes into the film, I was like, no, we got to go back and read the book. So I finished reading the book, and I was like, okay, let's start the movie again. And it's like, who are these people?
This is a very fun process.
And then I got to like a little more than halfway through the film. I was like, we need to stop because now the story is different. Like, what's going on?
Yeah.
So I didn't finish the movie because I was like, I'm here to watch Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, and this is no longer Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. I don't even know what this whole subplot is about kidnapping the president. That wasn't in the book.
Yeah, that's something that was different in the book. Like, it was made to seem like Zaphod had been kidnapped. And I feel like in the film, Zaphod even says, like, oh, I kidnapped myself.
Yeah.
But, like, to the rest of the galaxy, Zaphod has been kidnapped, and that's not a thing in the book.
Like, I enjoyed the film for, like, showing me what the Vogons look like.
Vogons? I've forgotten what they're called. Vogons, yes.
Yeah, like, that was super interesting, and seeing the Babel fish. And then I was kind of hoping I would see more like interesting takes on aliens, but then they were all just like humans.
Oh.
Yeah,
So
with
wigs.
with extra arms and whatnot.
Yeah.
Although, you must have loved the opening musical number, "So Long and Thanks for All the Fish."
That part I was like confused about at first. I was like, this is chapter, what was it, like 23? I was like, why did they put that as the whole intro of the movie when it's
Yeah.
like near the end of the book? But I mean, it makes sense.
Yeah.
But yeah,
So-
I did enjoy that.
Yeah. Do we want to move on to the question? Do we move on to the questions now? Is that how we normally do this?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can do that.
One day we'll write out a format and be
Yeah.
consistent.
Not today, maybe not tomorrow, but someday.
Someday. All right. How much did you know about this book before picking it up?
I wonder if, and I touched on this a little bit earlier, the not exactly cultural differences, but over here it is revered as like a British classic. It is a British institution. It is fucking very British, and so I wonder if when I started learning about it and that kind of thing, if that was a factor in it. So I learned about it from a very early age. I read the book many times. I've got a compendium of all of them. It's a trilogy in 5 parts, because there's 5 books, and it was always going to be a trilogy, but then Douglas Adams kept writing more and more and more, so it became a trilogy in 5 parts. And so I read that, and then the film came out, and unpopular opinion, I think the worst iteration of Hitchhikers was the TV show. It looks like it was made for about 12 pence and a shirt button, and in 2025, it definitely shows. So that was my knowledge. I knew about it for years upon years going into it, and yeah. Had you, Jam said you'd never read it before, had you, Victoria? Had you heard of it before?
Yeah, I've heard of it, and I always it's kind of like a classic. Like, you know the name. I never bothered picking it up for no particular reason. But that's why when you picked it, I was so excited because I was like, I know this one, and it's kind of like something that like is always recommended. Like, oh, everyone should read this. Everyone should read this. So I was so excited. And then my copy specifically has like an intro by Russell T Davies.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And he super fucking hypes it up. That's why, like, when I wrote it doesn't live up to the hype, it was because I had just read the, like, intro by him of, like, hyping the shit out of it.
What
and
did
I was like,
RTV
wow,
say?
my
I'm
life
so
is going to
curious.
change. This is going to be, like, it's, like, several pages long.
Oh, okay.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Is there a specific quote you can recommend from the article? I'll tell you who recommended it, who wrote the foreword for my copy when in a minute. Which is fucking gross. Wait till you hear this.
Oh, hold on.
Oh, no.
Here, how about you do that while I skim this?
Okay. Because the paper copy that I've got, I don't think it has an intro. Or maybe it has an intro by Douglas, who died in like 1999, but he would have written some kind of intro to it. But so I got it on my phone, so I could read it wherever I went. Neil fucking Gaiman wrote the intro for the version on my phone, and I was sickened. Like, I tweeted about it, like, is it possible to burn a book on your phone without burning your phone?
If
Yeah,
you
it was-
want, Peter, I can send you, like, photos of this so that you can read it. Because I think you'll find
I
it
would be
interesting.
very curious. Yeah.
So,
Now that I realize it, I have the digital copy that I think you have, Victoria, with like by Russell T Davis. I skip the forewords all the time. Yeah, I have the same one.
because I like Doctor Who, I was like,
Yeah.
oh, Russell T Davies, I'll read it.
Yeah.
And then he got me so excited.
Does it say what year he wrote it in?
No.
Okay, because normally it says, enjoy reading Russell T Davis wherever they were, whatever year it was.
No.
So,
Does he reference Doctor Who in it? I wonder if he wrote that before he did Doctor Who?
no, because he references it,
Okay.
and then it's like signed off Russell T Davies, writer and producer of Doctor Who and Torchwood.
Right. Okay.
So he talks about going to buy a house, and for some reason the owner was the person showing him around the house, which is not normal here. And he says, I looked at the bookshelves like you do, and there it was, the original paperback, the wet neon. I picked it out and just smiled. The man smiled back. We didn't need to say anything, but it was still there, that connection between strangers almost 30 years later. Something we once loved and love now in the shape of a book. And then kind of keeps going and says, so for God's sake, when you finish this book, don't seal it away on a shelf. Put it in your pocket, pass it round, spread the word. Leave it on a bus and complete the circle. Go on, someone please read it out in a school assembly, because they'll love it, those kids, I promise. They will find it makes so much sense. Douglas Adams is waiting for them. So hand over this lovely paperback for the next 30 years. But it makes sense because he's British. So like you were saying, it's like a British institution where like you all kind of grew up, it all kind of like everyone knew it. It all kind of like brought you guys together. So that makes sense now, knowing like how big of a cultural impact it was.
Especially as sci-fi writers like Douglas, as I said, Douglas Adams hated writing, but he was with Hitchhikers a sci-fi author, and so with Russell saying about Russell obviously being a sci-fi author as well, that would have connected them. And okay.
I guess like with the nostalgia of it, it's like one of those moments where you had to have been there while it was happening.
Yeah, definitely. And the idea of picking it up and passing it along is very kind of analog.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he references ebooks. I just skipped over that part. What did he say?
That's what would happen with shows like Mystery Science Theater. Like you'd tape it and then you'd give it to your pal who'd watch it and give it to his pal. Like it's circulating the word of, oh, this thing exists.
Yeah.
And I kind of feel like you don't really need to do that with Hitchhikers. Like it's well known enough. This is 50 years after Hitchhikers now, so.
Yeah, it says somewhere. Oh, maybe over 15 million copies sold.
Right. So 15 million people can't be wrong.
Right.
Well, 15 million and one now.
Could be.
Alright. I feel like that
So
answers.
I feel like that answers the questions. I'm very excited for the ratings. We will get there.
Wait, what about me?
Oh. Well, you said that you read it already.
I did.
Okay, Jam, what did you know about the book before picking it up?
I'm so sorry, Jam. I'm so sorry. I feel awful. I'm the worst host of all time.
She already answered this like 10 minutes ago. Don't feel bad.
Oh, I was joking. I did answer it already.
Open.
I'm just trying to guilt trip you, Peter.
Welcome to the last episode of the Tea and Tales Tavern Book Club.
No!
Next week, I will be replaced by Ian Ruckus Watson.
Ian would be so much fun.
I feel like it'd be so chaotic and funny.
It would be very chaotic.
We should ask him to fill in when one of us is off.
But then he has to read the book.
Yeah.
That's true.
Or what if he doesn't and he's just Ian?
He'll just go based off our summary of everything.
Yeah, just based off vibes. We'll
That'd
go.
be kind of fun if one of us didn't read the book and we had to sell it to the others.
I think it'd be fun. Like if we do have someone off, we have someone guest in, and then like they don't have to read the book because we go over it, so they'll just go based off the vibes of what we've said.
Yeah.
That would be actually
so
very fun.
I feel like it'd be so chaotic.
But fun.
In a good way.
Yeah, chaotic in a good way.
Yeah. Especially on a month when it's somebody else's book and I'm not leading it, so that'd be brilliant for them to have to deal with.
Alright, number 2.
Okay, next question.
How did the book make you feel? Did it make you laugh, cry, or cringe?
How did it make
Jam,
you feel, Peter? Do you want me to go first?
Yes, please,
Yeah,
so I
since
know
we
we've
skipped
definitely
you.
covered you. This is
How did
making
it
up
make
for
you
the last
feel?
question.
That's a great question. I didn't cry. I think I did chuckle and giggle a few times. But cringed a lot. I cringed a lot at the humor, and I think it was also just like very dated. So I'm like, oh, what? A recording on like a record? What? A cassette? Ew.
I will admit, and this is maybe more of a serious thing, I hadn't read it in a couple of years, and I wondered how dated it would be because it is from the 70s, and I was kind of afraid there would be something horribly awful in it. I don't think there was.
I don't think so.
Okay.
I think it aged very, very well. Other than, like, being amazed at digital watches. Like, other than, like, the technology that has changed, like, I'd say it ages really well.
Yeah. But then also, as I pointed out earlier, like, Douglas Adams did invent the video drone in the scene where Seyford steals the Heart of Gold. So that's a bit of a future shock.
Yeah, I think we just discovered he's a time traveler.
Amy couldn't have
But he's
written
dead
it.
now.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, no, when he wrote the book, he time traveled and was like, oh, drones, I'm going to put that in my book. And then he went back and wrote it.
Yeah.
Were they
RSVP, dog.
Makes me thinking of, like, some things, like, when did he die? In the 2000s? Before the 2000s?
I'm fairly sure it was 1999, like late 90s at least. I will Google this and find out. I'm probably completely wrong. Stand by.
Okay. Well, that was, like, another thing about, like, the technology that he was bringing, and I guess the trope with, like, Sensomatic 5000, or whatever it's called. It's just like, ugh, ew. But I get it. It's sci-fi trope things, and that's not usually the genre I like to read. So, like, cringe there, but I get it.
I definitely
May
did some
2001,
skimming.
by the way.
May 2001?
The 11th of May, to be specific. Because I was sure it was like 1999 because the film came out in 2005, and I know he wrote probably a dozen drafts of the film over the many years. And I know they've taken like a certain amount of his ideas for the film, and whoever is credited with writing the film just kind of mocked up a little bit and added bits and bobs, but I didn't think it was that close to the film coming out in 2005.
So yeah, those are my feelings. Victoria, what are your feelings?
Yes, Victoria.
I mean, I already said parts of it pissed me off. Just, yeah. I was like angry. And then I finished the book and I was like, it was like midnight last night when I finished it. So maybe I was just sleepy.
Up just to be like, this is shit.
Oh, that's why you're still awake.
Oh, at that point, I had finished it, but I was doing the casting stuff.
Oh, okay.
And so that's why
I saw the message when it came in. I was like, it's too late to respond. Why? I wanted to say, like, go to sleep. But I was like, you know what? I'll just go to sleep.
Yeah, no. I think I got off the computer at like 1 a.m. Then I think I fell asleep around 2.
Damn.
But I had stuff to do, man. I had book club stuff.
Yeah.
Y'all just have to show up. I have to, like, make everything.
That is true. We do have the easiest job of the book club.
And I've been the one posting on Instagram.
So busy. We appreciate your busyness.
Thank you.
We do appreciate you.
How about Peter and I work on the structure of the podcast?
That'd be great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Let's
We'll
do that.
it. And we'll post it. And you just have to look at it and agree.
Okay.
It's an equal division of labor. We love this.
Huh.
So yeah, didn't cry. I don't think there was any
cringe?
I don't think there was any like cringe-worthy moments. Not like other books we've read where it's like, oh my god, come on, do the thing. Yeah, it's just wasn't meant to be a book. But that's not his fault, I guess. Well, I guess maybe it's his fault for making it a book, but it shouldn't have been a book.
Yeah.
I can only go on about that for so long before it's annoying. So.
Yeah. What was the question again? I've completely forgotten.
Do you have any favorite quotes or past? No, I'm kidding. Did you Nope, that's the wrong question.
How did it make you feel about the book?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I've always kind of loved it, enjoyed the work, but going through it this time, it did. And maybe it's because I'm an adult, and as you said, Jam, when you're reading it as a kid, you just kind of accept things more. Whereas if you're an adult, you're like, oh, what does a Vogon ship look like? What is this? What is that? Like, you question things more. Whereas I think when you're a kid, it just kind of pops into your head, like you get an image of it. So that happened a lot, and I absolutely agree that it was very wordy, and it could have done with another. I wonder if you were to edit it, like make a 2025 re-edit of it, if that'd be better. Yeah, ultimately, I think I still like the idea of the story and the idea of the book, but it doesn't capture my imagination the way it once did.
Question 3. 3. That's 3 fingers. 3.
I've held up 5 fingers all leading. Question 3.
All right. Do you have any favorite passages or quotes you would like to share?
I do. And I've actually discovered that my favorite quote from Hitchhikers isn't from Hitchhikers, it's from the next book.
Well, then,
that's cheating.
That's just not. That is cheating.
Yes. I'm going to read this quote anyway because it's brilliant. In the beginning, the universe was created. This has made a lot of people very angry and is widely regarded as a bad move.
See, I remember that quote. So I feel like I've read the other book. I just don't remember it right now.
There's another one I really liked. Anyone who is capable of getting themselves made president should on no account be allowed to do the job.
Yeah.
Was that from this book or a different book?
That was from this one.
Okay.
I can just read quotes from any book now. But, somebody who should be president and isn't qualified to be president, they shouldn't fucking do it. And then my final quote is, the ships hung in the sky in much the same way that bricks don't. Those are my favourites. What about you, Victoria?
I feel like I read them as I skimmed my notes. I had lots of the people were mean, and most of them were miserable. Even the ones with digital watches. I thought that was a fun one. Anything you still can't cope with is therefore your own problem. Please relax. I think that's just very good advice.
That is very good advice.
And then, funny how just when you think life can't get any worse, suddenly it does.
We should get that put in Latin and put it on like the coat of arms for the Tea and Tales book club.
I love it. All right, Jan, what about you?
Quotes.
I only have 2. First one was, everything was ready, everything was prepared. He knew where his towel was. I don't know why that was just so meaningful to me. It's like, yeah, I know where my towel is too. I'm so put together.
Yeah.
And then the other one was, there's an infinite number of monkeys outside who want to talk to us about the script for Hamlet they've worked out. I just thought that was like a very funny, interesting way to incorporate like the idea of just have enough monkeys in the room typing away. One of them will eventually write like a Shakespeare play.
Yeah.
There
was another quote in it which I really liked. I can't remember exactly, but it's something about how people on Earth are unhappy, so they basically invented money, the pieces of paper, and then they swapped the piece of paper, which didn't make them any happier, even though the pieces of paper themselves were not unhappy.
I vaguely remember that quote.
I feel like this whole book is just funny things put into a story.
Yeah, I think that's like the radio show aspect coming in. Of having those like funny
the funny
one-liners to
one-liners?
keep people like tuned in and be like, ooh,
Yeah.
what's the one-liner? Because like back in the day when like TV shows were like once a week, and so you would watch it and then you'd go to school and talk to your friends about it, and like you'd always quote the same thing over and over and over. And so I feel like that's what those lines were really good for. It's like the radio show would play and you would listen to it, and then you go to school and talk to your friends, and you're like, oh, did you hear this part? Oh my god, that was so funny. And like those lines are like perfect for that, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Especially because in a radio setting you can imitate the voice. You made me think of it just then, doing the kid voice, that you can imitate the voices and imitate the delivery of the voice.
Yeah.
But in a book you can't. That's missing.
Yeah. And like, because everyone reads at like a different pace and blah blah blah. But like with that radio show format, like you were stuck. Like everyone had to progress at the same time, which I guess kind of helps with like that unity and like it becoming like such an icon in British culture of just like we're all in this together. We're all waiting for the next episode.
Yeah. Which is going to come next week, because can you imagine dropping something all at once? That'd be a silly idea. Who'd ever do that? Like a whole series at once?
That's crazy. Crazy talk.
It'd never happen.
All right.
Jam, did you have quotes we cover? I'm so paranoid about
I did my
forgetting
quote
Jam.
already.
That's right, you did. Yes.
Oh, sorry.
He scarred him.
You really have.
Oops. No, I did my quote already.
Okay.
Yeah. What were some of your favorite scenes from the book, and why did they stand out?
Huh. Have a look at my notes. I don't really know if I had really a particularly favorite scene.
I think I love the juxtaposition of the whale and the potted plant. Like, those two things together are just, why would they ever be together? And yet there they are. So I quite like that.
I think for me, it would have been like more in the beginning when Ford like convinces that foreman to like lay down in front of the bulldozer. So I was just like mind fucked him into like doing that while they go get drinks. And of course, it didn't work out for Arthur in the end because they ended up bulldozing the house. But it's like, hey, you at least got him to do that.
He tried.
I want a spin-off novel based, because something we didn't cover in the story is that foreman was a descendant of Genghis Khan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I want the spin-off story of a short novel about the rest of the construction workers going up to him laying on the ground and being like, the fuck are you doing? What in the... What are we doing? What? And that conversation of them getting him to get up and then destroy the house. Like, at what point does he realize this is fucking ridiculous and gets up and does his job? That's the spin-off I want. Get on it, Douglas.
Hop to it.
With literal hopping. See, I did like that scene as well, but with the bulldozer.
That was a really good scene. I liked it too.
Which is also a very... Sorry. Sorry.
Peter's just cutting everyone off today.
I am so sorry.
He's just so excited. It's okay.
It's okay.
I forget Jam. I'm cutting everyone off. I'm the worst host ever. No wonder it's been 4 years since I was on the radio.
It's better to be excited and want to talk than to sit there awkwardly in silence.
Could you imagine? One day we're going to have a book like that. We're all just like, fuck.
Yeah. I was wired. I'd be a bit like that with the last one we read, The Name of Which Escapes Me, but I feel I was significantly chatty during that one. Okay.
Well, that one went on for like 3.5 hours, so we definitely had shit to say.
That's true.
We're complaining.
At some point when we're done talking shit about it, we'll actually review it.
Yep.
I'm so sorry, Victoria. What were you going to say?
Oh, I was gonna say, I think my favorite scene is the part where they're finally, like, getting to the planet and all those messages are playing. And it's like the first one plays and he's like, it's old. Surely it'll be fine. We'll just keep on going. And then they get the second warning and he's like, no, guys, it's fine. It'll be fine. We'll keep on going. And then they get the third message and it's like, no, surely it'll be fine. And then it's not fine.
Yeah.
So.
Which again is like a very us thing. Like, imagine we're on a road trip and we're like, let's go to this haunted house. And we get a message like, don't go to the haunted house. It'll be fine. Just keep going.
I would be turning around immediatly. What are you talking about?
I would never sign up to go to a haunted house, but I agree with the spirit of it. I agree with the vibes.
At least we tried.
Yeah.
I agree with the vibes that we'd ignore warnings, but not specifically for a haunted house, because I don't fuck with that shit. I'm staying far away.
Yeah. You are exactly correct, yeah. Yeah, that was so... I'm so corporate as well. Like, such a... Like, when you call a business and they're like, hello, we're closed at the moment. Like, that was so corporate. And I don't want to say it's like a culture thing, because I'm sure you phone businesses and it's like, this business is closed. But at the time, that was like a very British way of dealing with things. Like, we're sorry, the office is open from 9 to 5, Monday to Thursday, blah, 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 blah. Like, such a corporate, heartless response. And that's very, very British.
All right, which character did you connect with the most and why?
Damn. Well, like Peter had said in the beginning, they were all the characters were very short with each other. And I don't know if that's just like how they spoke back in the day. That's just like normal dialogue. I remember like near the end of the book, Ford had hugged Zaphod, I think, because he was just like so happy he was okay. And I was like, oh my gosh, he does care about him. Because the entire time they all acted like they hated each other. And I know the movie talks about this. I don't know if it happened in the book, but I was confused as to why Ford bothered to save Arthur from Earth. I was like, I know they're friends, but Ford also had other friends. And in the book, they're like, well, Arthur had saved him the first time he was on Earth because he tried to shake hands with a moving vehicle that was about to hit him, and Arthur saved him. Yeah. And I don't know if that was discussed in the book, so I was like, why are they even here together on this adventure? What's the bond? What's going on? And then Trillian was kind of hardly there. Like, they mentioned she's super smart. She has, like, a master's in mathematics and I don't know, astrophysics or something. And then she's kind of, like, barely there as a character. But then I felt like a lot of them were just barely there. Like, even Ford kind of disappeared when, like, Zaphod showed up. But then he kind of comes back, and I was like, what the fuck? Who are these people? Do they like each other? What's going on? And also, because of the way they spoke, they all kind of just seemed like the same people.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
maybe in like different emotions.
Yeah, they talk very similarly.
Yeah, like Arthur's just like the confused guy all the time.
Yeah.
And yeah. So I was like, I can't connect with any of them. I don't really know what they're doing or like what their purpose is for any of this or why they're like, why are you doing what you're doing? I don't know. We're just here for the ride.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see that, yeah. Absolutely agree. I also think that I wonder if one of the ways that was intended by Douglas, and maybe we're getting a bit too deep, like the author's intention with being this character was to put it in the situation where the character is facing his own mortality. I don't know if that's where we're going, but Arthur is in an impossible situation. And whereas if Ford hadn't taken Arthur and had just hitchhiked himself, and then the whole thing happens without Arthur, I feel that Arthur is the way into it. He is the one asking questions. So I kind of feel like if we lose Arthur, we kind of lose a bit of the story. That is related to nothing. I have no idea where I was going with that.
Well, like, I can see that because, like, maybe Arthur would be, I guess, us in the situation where we kind of just plucked out of Earth all of a sudden. We have no idea what's going on. We didn't know about the existence of aliens, and we just happened to befriend one that we didn't know was an alien, and now we're on this adventure. So I can kind of see that. I just thought he was, like, I get the confusion all, but, you know, he didn't grow as a character.
Yeah.
He was just there, confused. Except maybe near the end when he's like, okay, I guess I should read this guide since I'm in the galaxy now.
Yeah. And I feel like, again, going back to the film, which I'm going to spoil the end of, but you haven't seen. In the end of the film, they activate Earth 2.0, and Arthur does rejoin them going to the galaxy. The film does end with them going to the restaurant at the end of the universe. But Arthur and Trillian get together at the end of the film, which isn't really, like, throughout the whole Hitchhikers, you're like, okay, will they become a thing? Is that why she's here? Is that why they're there? Is that why Arthur's there? Is that a thing? So in answer to the question, I think I probably related more to Zaphod, because he's crazy, and that energy is batshit crazy, and I like that chaos. Or Marvin.
Yes,
I feel like most days when I message Victoria, she's like, how are you? And I'm like, I'm still here. Not that it matters, not that anyone cares, but I'm still here. How are you? What about you, Victoria? Who did you relate to? That was the question, wasn't it?
Yeah. I
Okay,
think I'm with Jam on this one. There is just very surface level characters. It's so hard to like review this as a book because like things like that with like the surface level characters, it's like I get it because of the limitations of the original medium. But I feel like if you're gonna turn it into a book, like use that opportunity to like go deeper. And especially since you said that like each one is so different already, like why not go more into detail about these characters and like why we should give a shit about them? Because otherwise, like if any of them had have died, I'd be like, oh, that sucks, I guess.
Yeah.
Like
It does fall in the book trap of just because it's a book, we expect you to care about these people. Just because these are people on camera or on whatever you want. Because they're the focus of the book, we expect you to care about them without giving us a reason to care about them.
Mm-hmm.
And there is also that Arthur doesn't seem to give much of a shit that Earth is destroyed. Like, he reflects on it a touch, and then Trillian reflects on it a touch, but it's like, huh, okay, cool. Anyway.
Yeah, I think it mentions, like, at some point in the book, like, the next day after Earth is destroyed, because he had fallen asleep in jail or whatever on, like, the Borgon's ship. Like, he woke up, like, crying or something. Like, he was in some kind of distress, but at the same time, it was just, like, him and Trillian just did not really give a shit. They're just like, well, this is life now.
We're in space.
Alright, before we do the next question, I have to switch my headphones because these ones are dying.
Oh no.
RSVP headphones.
I know. I thought I'd try something different and like not wear my big, huge gamer ones.
I did wonder where your big headphones were.
So I was like, oh, I'll use the ones that like I got with my phone. Because allegedly it's like 8 hours of battery. But I guess not when it's connected to a computer. I don't know.
Fully charged? And it's already dying?
One of them died.
What the
There's
fuck?
like a fun little noise. So, back to my big ass gamer headphones.
Hey,
I love
join the club.
I really like these headphones just because they've got bright colours on them.
Oops. I'm pushing things. What's so funny is I can hear you, but stream can't.
Oh.
Oh.
Well,
now they can. Because I had to change the settings.
Oh, okay.
Because I had it set to my other headphones.
Okay. So I thought this whole time
hear
we
us.
were... Yeah.
No. They couldn't hear shit. Alright.
Although kind of on brand, like, you've seen a bit of the movie, so you've seen what the Heart of Gold looks like, Jam. Doesn't Victoria's headphones look like they could be from the Heart of Gold?
Not gonna lie, I forgot what it looks like.
That's amazing.
I watched the movie yesterday. I don't remember what the Heart of Gold looks like.
That's hilarious.
That is
know,
absolutely us.
It's very white on the inside. That's all I can tell you.
Yeah, it's very white. It's got a lot of bright lights all over the place, and that's about. And a big button. I don't think the button is gold. Is it like a red button to activate the infinity drive?
It's a red button.
It's a red button. Okay.
It's a classic big red button.
Which we love. We love a big red button.
Yeah.
I forgot what question we were on.
6.
6.
Oh, we already talked about this. How did the main characters change or grow throughout the story?
They fucking didn't.
Next.
It only takes place over like a couple of days. There was no time for them to grow or change.
Yeah.
I guess so.
I feel like the only kind of growth that might happen is Arthur, because who was it was one of you that said like all of a sudden he's aware of a world of aliens existing and space travel existing, but even then he doesn't show it. He just kind of accepts it.
Yeah. It's crazy. He's just like, yeah, okay, sure, aliens, I guess. My friend of like however many years, he's an alien. Cool.
Yeah. From somewhere in the vicinity of the planet Betelgeuse. Let me ask you this though, because of the differences and unique and similarities between our two great nations. When you read the word Betelgeuse, did you read it as Betelgeuse or Betelgeist?
Beetlejuice.
Oh, my brain skipped over it. Sometimes if a word is too hard to figure out and it's not a real word, I just pretend it doesn't exist and I move on.
Yeah, I do that as well, because Beetlejuice from the hit movie Beetlejuice was named after the planet Betelgeuse, because at several points in the film you can see it's written like it is in Hitchhikers after the planetary system, but it's pronounced Beetlejuice. So I was wondering if you said it Beetlejuice or Betelgeuse. It's not a massive part of the story. I was just curious.
Yeah, when I saw the word, I was like, the only way to say that is Beetlejuice. I didn't even think of like Betelgeuse or like any other pronunciation.
Yeah. Canada and the UK, we are strong. Small but mighty. Okay, so next.
Oh, that's okay.
What?
How do the secondary characters impact or influence the main characters or story?
I mean,
Marvin saves the day.
Yeah, there is that. Like, if it wasn't for Marvin, that Arthur would have had his brain taken out.
Yeah.
I guess so, yeah.
And then the old man, he put glaciers in Africa. That's something.
And he made the Earth.
Yep.
He made part of the Earth.
Right?
Him and his team.
So, they did a lot.
Marvin? Yeah.
Go Marvin and old man.
Who would you consider to be main character and who would you consider to be secondary character? I think Marvin is definitely secondary character, even though he's the breakout. Like, again, maybe it's a big British culture thing, but like if there was a single about Marvin, like he had his own song come out, there were Marvin action figures, Marvin was the breakout star of Hitchhikers.
Action.
I feel like it's the same as like Mater from Cars or like Donkey from Shrek. Where it's like the funny little sidekick is the one that people latch onto and that they love, and they're like, fuck the actual people who I'm supposed to care about. I like the funny little guy.
I guess so. Damn, I didn't realize he had like that much of an impact.
Yeah, me neither.
Oh, yeah.
Sad and depressing.
Is Britain okay?
No, you know we're not. Help us. There's actually a scene, and I don't know if you... No, it was Victoria I sent this picture to. The original Marvin from the original TV show is in the movie.
Oh.
When they're in the office, the government office in the film, and Marvin, Arthur, and Dave Ford, whoever it is, they're going through the line to get to the forum. They squeeze past a wee robot. It's a blink and you'll miss it cameo, but they squeeze past a robot, and that's the original Marvin.
Oh.
Fun fact. Any hoozles. Marvin did...
Oh, that was... I see. Because when I pictured Marvin, because of like when the book was written and how like dated it seemed, I know it's like based in the future. Well, not in the future, but like the galaxy, so it's more futuristic. But I kind of just imagine Marvin being like, God, what is that? Wall-E? The robot like on wheels, not like old and like tin can like that, but just like a shiny robot on wheels. So when I saw Marvin with like arms and humanoid legs, I was like, who the fuck is that supposed to be with this massive head?
I know you said Wall-E, which is a very specific design, but also in that kind of same vein, Johnny Five from Short Circuit, if you ever saw that film. No, I will find a picture of Johnny Five and send it to Victoria. Basically, if you've seen Wall-E, you've seen Johnny Five, but Johnny Five is bigger.
Did the original version of Marvin, it looks like he has legs as well. Does he?
Yeah, the original version did.
Oh, it's okay, Peter. I found him.
Okay. Hey,
I don't know. I just feel like robots should be either on wheels or they should just be hovering. They don't need legs.
Yeah.
Why not?
They should be more advanced. Because like wheels are all terrain. And if you're hovering, you're already like, you're in the sky. You're all terrain. But like legs? You can do better than that.
Yeah. Yeah, okay. So secondary characters didn't... Well, apart from Marvin, and that leads me back to my question. Who would you consider to be secondary characters, and who would you consider to be main characters in this first Hitchhiker's book?
Well, I think...
Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say Arthur, Ford, Trillian, Zephyrd. I'd say those four are the... I promise
Main
there's
characters.
four fingers. I'd say they're the main characters, and then everyone else is secondary, and then the mice are like the main antagonists. Because I wouldn't like they're not in it enough to be like main characters, but they do play a big part. It's just at the end.
Yeah. Like, everything kind of happens because of the mice. Well, the Vogons, really. They're enemies as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Arguably. But they're more... They don't much care. They're just doing the job.
Yeah.
So they're not angry enemies? Question mark?
Yeah. They're just like third-dairy characters.
Tertiary?
That's it.
I was gonna say, I feel like the Heart of Gold, it's supposed to be a secondary character, but I feel like they don't do enough to impact the story that they're kind of like a tertiary character, even though they're like the ship and also the improbability drive thing. But also, like, they're not really doing much.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, it's mentioned that the Heart of Gold has a personality, but you never really... Like, it sings when it's going to die, but...
Oh, it changes
never...
personalities at some point.
Yeah,
Does it
because
become
it's like... it becomes stern. Like
Yeah.
a mom.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's right. I'd forgotten all about that. That you can change its that the Heart of Gold changes its personality.
It had like a backup personality because Zaphod didn't like the primary personality.
Which I liked more.
I did too.
To be honest.
I thought it was fine. I got really mad every time he's like, "Shut up and do this." I was like,
Yeah.
"Ooh,
Yeah.
that
It's
shit
just-
could kill you."
And it came out of nowhere, it felt like. Like, the ship was just, like,
Yeah.
trying to help. And he's like, fuck you, shut up and just do the math.
He's
Like-
so antagonistic towards the ship.
Just buy a calculator, Jesus.
Yeah. In the film, and this is for more Victoria's benefit, because I know you've seen bits of the film, Jam, the ship has a personality, but the ship's personality is very much, hey, welcome to the Heart of Gold. You're going to have a good time today. That kind of upbeat.
Yeah.
And the doors sigh whenever they open. It's like, whenever the door opens and whatnot.
Marvin talks about that in the book.
Oh, does he? Okay.
Yeah. He's like, oh, the doors are just so happy to, like, open for you. And he's like, it's stupid and I hate them.
I agree with Marvin on that. The doors was distressing to hear on the movie when it's just open. It's like, It's like, what? Did you orgasm? What the fuck? It was so
That's something I've never
distressed.
thought of, but yeah, and it happens so much. Like in Star Trek, when the doors open, it's a noise,
Yeah,
and that
that's
kind of
fine.
goes into the background.
Like, I
a
can
lot.
understand that. It's just like the air moving. That's fine.
Yeah.
But why are you sighing like that?
Yeah,
Do they also
It does.
sigh in the radio show?
I believe so. I believe they do. Yes,
That's
I'm going to say
crazy.
yes. But Jam is very correct. It is very off-putting because whenever a character does come through, and it's eventually in Star Trek they kind of blend it into the background, but in Hitchhikers it's every single time.
So
Like,
loud.
there is no blending into it, especially when they're on the way to Magathea, and I think it's Ford or someone comes onto the bridge, and they're in the middle of this battle. The missiles are being fired at them, and the door goes in the background. It's like, this is not the time or place for that. Calm yourself. Go clean yourself up and come back. We're in a battle. Jeezo.
I feel like I have to watch the movie now.
Damn,
Movie
don't do it.
You know what we should do? We should do a episode 4.5 where we go and watch the movie and then compare and contrast.
Jen looks like she wants to tap out.
I don't want to finish the movie.
It'd be so
Are
fun.
you sure? It'd be fun.
We could do it. We could do it. I would just be like, well, we've already done the book club stuff at this point, so like I'm fine with it.
Anything else is a bonus.
Exactly.
Yeah. So book, no, not book. Question 8.
Yeah.
7, 8,
8.
7,
8.
8.
Look at me keeping track.
Good
It'll
job.
never happen again.
Which character did you dislike or disagree with the most, and why?
All.
That your answer?
In the motives aren't very clear. Like, it's not entirely clear why Ford takes Arthur. I mean, you did say that because Arthur saved him, so that's kind of
from the movie.
specious. Yeah, that's kind of specious logic, and it's not entirely clear why Zaphod wants the Heart of Gold to go to Magwithia, and it's not entirely clear why Trillion's still with him, and so motives are not clear. It's
I mean, it's not like Trillion can go home.
Well, not now. She can't.
Well,
She had a window
she was
of
with him
opportunity.
for 6 months.
Oh,
she
was
could
she?
have left. Yeah.
Oh.
So she got picked up like 6 months before the world was destroyed.
Okay.
So she could have left, but I guess she decided, oh, this is my life now.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't think they're meant to be liked as well. Like, they are very short with each other, and as we discussed, and I don't feel like any of them are meant to be liked. Like, Arthur is very kind of dull and the questions guy. Zaphod is the guy who makes things happen. Ford is the answer guy. Trillion is just there. Maybe there's a science question, so you can throw that to Trillion, but...
She does computer stuff at one point.
At one point!
Yeah, at one
The
point.
one point!
There's literally, like,
Good for her.
as, like, I think, like, the first scene on the Heart of Gold, she's, like, typing away, doing
the
something.
probability stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
That's all she gets. A little cameo.
Like, I don't want to say I completely disliked or, like, disagreed with all these characters. There were these really small bits of each character that I tried to like, especially with, like, Zaphod, because he seemed like he could actually be this very intelligent, driven guy, but whatever's gone on with his brain just ruined things for him.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, I was interested in seeing, like, his motivations, but we never really got it.
Yeah.
And then, I don't know, Arthur was just kind of there.
Yeah.
And Trillion was kind of, like, not there.
Yeah.
Arthur is very much the MacGuffin of the thing. Like, things happen around him.
Yeah.
And then Ford was also kind of just there, but we did get, like, this one moment near the end of the book where, like, Ford and Zaphod are talking about, like, how they knew the former president and, like, their childhood and that kind of stuff. And I thought that was, like, really sweet and interesting because now we actually know they had a bond. They do actually like each other.
Yeah.
But, like, we didn't really get a lot from the characters to do anything with. So, like, I was somewhat interested, but, like, I had a whole book to learn about them and really didn't learn much about them.
Yeah.
Yeah. What about you, Victoria? What did you think?
I mean, I agree with what you guys said. Like, there is nothing to dislike because there is no substance to them. It's like hating a sheet of paper. Like, it's just there.
Yeah.
It's not the paper's fault. It exists.
Yeah.
Although
Just
I
there to do a
realize,
thing.
as someone who works in print, there are times where I hate paper. So, that was probably a bad example. Listen, they just get, like... Listen...
What does paper do to you?
It jams in the printer. Oh my god. I was so pissed last week. I was trying to print literally 9 sheets of paper and it kept jamming. And I was getting so mad. But I think
why is that the paper's fault?
I was gonna say, I think I was more mad at the printer than the paper. But yeah, I realized I picked a bad example because I was like, wait a second.
Have we talked you around on paper? Have we gone full circle on paper with you now?
Yeah. You've talked me out of hating paper, I think.
Yeah. Printers, bastards. Paper, you're okay.
Mm-hmm.
Except when it gives me paper cuts.
Oh, that's paper still gives paper cuts in 2025. What the fuck is it doing?
Right?
At this point, it's malicious. It's doing it absolutely on purpose.
I agree. Fuck paper.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
We've gone around again.
Next question.
Before any other stationery hears about this, what do we think of pens? Fuck it, let me tell you. Pen blew up once, ink all over the place. Fucker.
Oh.
Paper clips, all bendy and... Ooh, fuck you, paper clips.
Alright, are there any characters you wish you could give advice to? And what would you tell them?
Honestly, I don't feel like I am qualified to give any of them advice on their galactic space adventure. Journal, so we know what's going on. So you know what's going on. Maybe don't press that improbability button so much.
Yeah.
I feel like that's going to like detract from your lifespan, but you know, that's it.
I don't know if I'd give advice, but I would like to talk to Ford about why he chose Arthur. Because it is said that Ford does have other friends.
Yeah, they have a group together.
Yeah.
They're a group of friends, and he went to Arthur's house. Why?
Yeah.
Maybe that's just the only one he could get to in time. He just lives the closest.
I guess.
Could have been.
No.
Choose a better, more capable friend.
Yeah. Which is life advice for everybody out there.
Yes.
Addie says...
Except for us three. We're amazing.
Oh, Addie says she's cut paper 1,000 times more than paper has cut her. Which is valid.
Yeah.
That sounds like something paper would say.
Addie is sponsored by Big Paper.
Addie, how could you?
Addie taking the big paper money.
Yeah.
Getting paid by Big Paper to say that shit.
She's gone one episode.
I know even really
Traitor.
Addie's still in chat.
Yeah, she's still here. Oops.
So yeah, nothing I'd really... I would be curious to know why Ford chose Arthur, but beyond that, nothing particularly. I would also like to know if... it is 6 months later, if Trillian is still as fascinated with Zaphod. Like, does she regret going with Zaphod? Mm-hmm. Has the bloom come off the rose? Because I do kind of get the impression that if Trillian had stood in, like, if Trillian was like, you can't take this, he would absolutely have left Trillian on that planet when he stole the Heart of Gold. He has no loyalty to her.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd say to Trillian, get a better man.
Well, apparently she gets Arthur, and I don't think that's much of an upgrade, to be honest.
I don't think so either.
Yeah. Anyone got anything else they'd like to ask anybody?
I told them be nicer to the computer. That thing can kill you, and you're just being assholes.
Yeah.
Like, just take a chill pill. Be nice.
It's doing its best.
Yeah.
It's brand new. It was just born.
It's just a baby.
It's literally calculating impossible maths. So give it 5 minutes. You know.
Yeah. I wish the computer was bitchier. You know what? That's the advice I would give. I'd tell the Heart of Gold to be a bigger bitch. And be like, put him in his place.
Yeah.
He ain't shit without you. Let him know that.
Yeah, you are the ship. You literally have a heart of gold. That is your name. So
Right.
stand up for yourself. We love a sassy spaceship. Christine, 9?
10.
10. Fuck, I lost it. I had it. I flew too close to the sun on wings of wax.
You got too cocky.
I did.
What do you think happens to the characters after the novel ends?
Well, I know exactly what happens to the characters after the novel ends. They go to the restaurant at the end of the universe.
Yup.
They eat a delicious meal of spaghetti. And they love it.
I mean, there's
don't remember
several other books.
Yeah.
You know?
I really don't.
Like, have you watched or have you read, heard, listened to the entire series? Like, do you know what happens at the end? Like, the end?
Well, the thing about the end is there is no end because Douglas released the first 5, and then there's been at least one other book continuation. So there's 6 books in the trilogy now, if not 7. Mm. So there, to date, there is no end, but I vaguely remember at some point, spoilers, I forget which book this is, Arthur ends up traveling back in time, and he ends up on like a prehistoric Earth.
Uh-oh.
Because reasons.
See, I thought that's what, like, not that specifically what's going to happen, but my answer was going to be they just keep going on space shenanigans because the way it was written just feels like it's just here's a slice of life of my space shenanigans, and we'll just keep doing more shenanigans until we die.
Yeah. Which is basically the gist of it. At one point, you do find out why the potted plant says, "Oh no, not again." Would you like to know why?
Sure.
Sure.
Because, in fact, that's how Arthur ends up back on Earth, because it turns out that the potted plant is a creature that reincarnates, and in every single one of his incarnations, Arthur has somehow managed to kill him.
No.
Which is why he says, "Oh no, not again." And he reincarnates into a human, and not human, but humanoid. And he ends up with Arthur, and he's like, "Why do you keep killing me?" And Arthur's like, I don't know. I didn't do this," because he's Arthur. He doesn't know he's doing it. It's not like he's literally stabbing a human.
Yeah.
It's squashing a fly or something like that. So that's why the potted plant says, "Oh no, not again," because, again, he's being killed by Arthur.
That sucks for that plant.
It really does. It's not the best way to be a plant.
No. Poor plant. R.I.P.
RSVP plant. You'd have loved Hot to Go.
What was the most
Question.
memorable or shocking scene or twist in the story?
If I were to say it, for me, it was the mice not knowing that Earth was about to be demolished, the Vorgons not caring that the people of Earth couldn't travel light years yet and destroying them anyways, only to get the message like 2 minutes later that they didn't need them to demolish the Earth because the Heart of Gold exists now. Like, how did they not know that ahead of time? I feel like the galaxy was completely disorganized, and the mice aren't actually as smart as they claim to be. They're just rich.
Wait, you're saying
So it's
rich
not-
people are not intelligent? They don't plan ahead?
They just got money. Don't kill me for it. So not like a scene, but like just the entirety of the story is like, what happened? This could have been completely avoided,
Yeah.
Just one email could have solved everything.
Yeah.
right?
CC important people and be like, "Alright, besties. New spaceship on the way. Don't blow shit up.
Yeah.
See you later."
Exactly.
XOXO Gossip Girl.
Right?
Or in this case, gossip alien thing.
Gossip mice.
Mhm.
Yeah, I agree. The most,
Yeah.
I guess, shocking or twist is that the mice are just stupid as hell
Yeah.
and can't be bothered to keep up to date on intergalactic affairs in regards to building over this very expensive planet that they made.
Yeah.
No.
Was that ever
does-
explained?
I don't think it was, and you make a very interesting point because it's never really explained, but Deep Thought appears to have some kind of ability to look into the future or at least calculate what's going to happen. So surely at some point Deep Thought should have been like, "You're going to build the Earth, but you're going to need to protect it because at a certain point it's going to become endangered. So watch out." But Deep Thought doesn't say anything either. So Deep Thought is as bad as those fucking mice. Fuck you, Deep Thought.
If you're gonna invest money into something, why don't you keep an eye on your investment?
Yeah.
Since they're on the planet anyways. What about, I'm sure a bunch of mice were destroyed.
That's true.
Yeah.
Only 2 survived. That's fucked up.
Yeah.
It only says the dolphins left. It didn't say shit about the mice.
Yeah. And we assume that the mice who were working on the computer didn't leave the planet.
I don't even know.
This is ridiculous.
I do like it when there is a plot to destroy the Earth and it actually goes ahead.
Yeah.
So the fact that at the end of like the second chapter, it's like the Earth was gone and the Vogons fucked off. It doesn't say that, but like they do destroy Earth. I'm like, oh, they actually did it. Amazing. 10 out of 10. Wish I was there.
Any other memorable or shocking scenes we want to talk about? No.
Well, in the film, oh, it's a spoiler for the film, and if we're going to watch it, I won't spoil it, but which I kind of already have. But something happens to Marvin. More in the
Marvin?
film,
Oh no.
Oh.
so that's very exciting, and we will get to it.
Okay.
Hopefully. Other than that, nothing in particular. Anyone? Victoria?
Just the giant plot hole of the mice being dumb as hell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That sounds like rich people.
Yeah.
I bet those mice would have voted for Zaphod.
Probably did.
More than likely did. Bastards.
Alright. If you had to fight one of the characters in an old-timey boxing ring, who would you choose and would you win?
Marvin.
Really?
Take him out. He wants to be taken out of his misery. He's not going to fight against me. Goodbye.
Damn. That's cold as
I'm
hell.
doing him a favor.
Okay.
This is a side of you I've never seen, Jam, and it's
Yeah.
why I fear you.
I feel like every time I answer this question, it's never like just about winning. It's about murdering.
Yeah. You're like, this person pissed me off, so I'm gonna kill them.
Yeah. I saw this person's reflection in the mirror behind me. Fuck them.
Well, that's my answer. Okay, Marvin's gone.
Okay.
Goodbye.
Yeah. Although, which version of Marvin is it that we're fighting? Because you looked at the two versions there. If we use one of those physical versions of Marvin, which one would you prefer to fight?
The movie one, just because it seems less dangerous. The original one has these weird claw pins or things.
Ooh.
I don't want to mess with that. That
Plus
seems
the original
painful.
one. I had a Marvin action figure from the film, and it was so its head was so fucking heavy. It never stood up for more than a minute because. So if you get a good push behind Marvin, he's going down. That head is pulling him straight over. So Marvin would be a good choice. I also feel like you could probably fight Arthur, and he'd just be too busy going, don't hit me, to...
Like, what? Yeah.
Why are you hitting me? What is
Arthur's
this?
my pick, because I feel like I could take him. It's like one solid punch, you know?
Yeah. You know who else would be a good guy? You know the guy at the bar who's trying to get Ford to buy him a drink?
Yeah.
That'd be a good guy. Beat the shit out of him for being a lech. Go home, old man. Live your life. Put the drink down.
Beat him into sobriety.
Exactly.
Glass him.
Oh my god.
With his own
Down.
whiskey glass. This is the
question's
last
getting-
drink you're ever having, one way or the other. Stitch this. As we say in Scotland, because that's the thing in Scotland, like you glass somebody and say, stitch this.
Really?
So,
Y'all are crazy.
yeah, we do require mental health assistance.
Is that who you're fighting then, Peter? The person at the bar?
Yeah, the old man who fucking wants the old lech. And Ford eventually, in the book, he eventually does buy him a drink. I can't remember if he does in the film, but in the film, but in the book, Ford does eventually buy him a whiskey.
Oh. No, I
The
don't
book,
think that
he's just
happened.
like, fuck off.
Yeah.
These are ours. And then the person, I don't think they fuck off, but they're like, okay, fine, I'll look over here.
Yeah.
I'm sure it mentions at one point that the guy at the end of the bar who's finishing the whiskey that Ford bought him gestures to them, maybe. It's a very throwaway line.
Mm-hmm.
But it is mentioned that Ford does buy him a drink. So that guy, that's my choice. Old drunk man.
Would you win?
No. But I'd fight him.
You know what? At least you tried.
I try. I will try.
Alright. Are you ready for our adaptation and casting?
Yes. This is the one I'm
Okay.
most excited for.
Just give me a sec.
Did you send Victoria cast notes, Jam?
I did.
I did as well. I sent photos and whatnot.
So did you?
Samesies.
We are amazing.
I don't know where to put this. It's so big. Here. Good enough. Oh, perfect. And it'll fit when Addie's here. Okay, awesome.
Is it a video?
It's just a background.
Okay.
It moves. That's it. It's nothing super crazy.
Oh, I was like, my God, the production.
Oh my god.
Now you see why I was up until 1 a.m.
Oh my god, that is...
Damn, we need to do more work.
Oh my god.
Okay.
There was a point when I was like, should I pull up a clip from Douglas Adams for him talking about the book? Should I pull up So Long and Thanks for All the Fish? Should I pull up something? I didn't do shit.
We'll do better next time.
We will. We will absolutely do better. That's our promise.
I actually had such a hard time focusing on this book that I was almost done reading this, and then I started doing this, and then I went back and finished it, and then I finished this. So,
That's fair.
yeah, I had a really hard time focusing on this book. At one point, it was before me and Jan were going to play Trine. I was like, okay, I have like 3 hours. I can get a lot done. I started reading it, and I was like, what if I took a shower instead? So I did that.
God.
Fair though. Absolutely fair.
All right.
Okay.
So the way we're gonna do this is Jam's gonna go first because she sent her stuff first. She's gonna go through everyone she cast, and then we'll do Peter, and then we'll do me, and then we can like talk about whatever.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Okay. Are their names gonna pop up? Because I don't remember a lot of their names.
Yeah. So it might be a little hard for you to see on stream. Let me know if you can actually read that.
Okay.
Yeah, that's fine to me.
Is it big enough?
I think so, yeah.
Okay, because I only see it on OBS, so it's like even smaller.
It could maybe be a touch bigger,
Eh.
but generally it's absolutely perfect, I would say.
All right, I'm gonna leave it. I'm lazy. I can also just read it to you as we go.
Sure.
All right, Jam. First up is Arthur Dent.
I'd like to know how close we all came together, because I know a thing about Victoria, so I'd like to know how in sync we are with this.
Okay.
Sorry, I completely interrupted. Sorry, Jam.
No, that's totally fine. I haven't said anything yet. So for Arthur Dent, I picked, was it Daniel Radcliffe?
Oh.
Why did I pick him? Because Arthur was just, to me, generic, kind of messy, middle-aged man. Well, not middle-aged. 30 is not middle-aged. I'm 30.
Damn.
You're not 30, are you, Jam?
30.
Did that happen?
What? It happened last year.
Yeah, where have you been?
I'm out of my 20s.
Me and Jam are the same age.
I know you turned 30 this year, Victoria, didn't you?
I turned 31 this year.
I'm sorry.
Listen, we're not talking about that. We're talking about the character.
Yes.
Anyways, I picked Daniel Radcliffe because I felt like he could very much embody and look the role of like this very confused, kind of scraggly, generic white man on a space adventure. And also, I tried to keep all my picks kind of like UK-ish, not very much American.
Yeah, so that's where you and I differ.
Yeah, I didn't do that either. I just picked based on vibes.
Yeah. Although I also can see Daniel Radcliffe, because throughout the fucking Boy Wizard series, the name of which I won't say, but he was very much the anchor into it. Like, oh, what's happening here? What is this? So with that works with him being Arthur as well.
I was going based off like all his other movies because I haven't really seen Harry Potter, and he's just like, his characters are just all over the place and they're crazy and they're confusing.
Yeah.
So it's a good time.
He's had some really interesting career choices since those films wrapped, and I think he's doing some really good work. Proud of him.
Yeah. Who's
Keep
the
going,
next
Daniel.
person?
Ford,
next person?
Ford Prefect.
So I picked, I hope I'm saying his name right. It's Riz Ahmed. Yeah. Why'd I pick him? I've probably seen like 2 things he's in. And I just felt like he would do a good job being somewhat human, but off. Yeah, that's it. That was my vibes. The vibes I went with for that.
Okay. I can see that.
Alright, next up is Trillian Astra.
So I picked Freema Ajama. Freema Ajman.
Amazing choice. I adore Freema.
I loved her acting in like everything I've seen her in.
Yeah.
And I felt like she could just do an amazing job as Trillian if Trillian was like a more
competent,
deeper character.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, if we knew more about Trillian,
Uh-huh.
she would be her. And it would be
Absolutely.
perfect.
That is amazing.
All right.
And
Absolutely
then-
love that choice.
Next
you.
up is Marvin.
Oh, the
Marvin,
voice
I
of
didn't-
Marvin.
I didn't pick a voice for Marvin. Because I couldn't imagine anyone voicing Marvin. It was just generic computer AI thing.
Okay.
Complaining about life and being sad because whoever gave it a personality gave him the worst one.
Yeah. But having now seen the film and you know that Rickman was the voice of Marvin, can you kind of imagine anything behind the AI, behind the robot voice now? Has anyone come to your head?
No.
No.
I think
Remember-
maybe it's because I just don't want to see somebody displaying that level of depression on screen.
Addie says this is another reason for Jam to watch Doctor Who, and I agree.
Yeah, I agree.
She's
For
amazing.
Robot voice?
No, for
Freema
Freema.
Agyeman,
Yeah.
she was a
Oh.
companion.
She was one of my favorites. I loved
Absolutely.
Martha.
Yeah. She had a
Actually,
bit
I'm
of an
thinking of
unrequited-
Donna. I love Donna. Martha was good too, but
Martha had a bit of an unrequited crush on the Doctor, and I won't spoil it for you, but she was amazing in it.
she was very,
That seems
very
really
good.
sad to watch. Why would I want to see that?
Because she's amazing, and we love
She
her.
is.
Okay. Well, who's next?
Zaphod Beeblebrox.
I picked Will Poulter. Why? The eyebrows, the vibes.
I love it.
Yeah, hard
Okay, that's
agree.
not entirely true.
Oh.
Also, because Zaphod, like I was saying before, I think is super intelligent, but he's also like incredibly aloof because of brain things. And the roles I've seen Will in, I think he would do like an excellent job of that. And I kind of just envisioned him as like this presidential leader who's also very incompetent, but could be competent if he actually thought. Yeah, if he thought.
Oh, I know exactly who he is now. I admit I had to Google his name, but now I see other things. I know exactly who he is now. Yeah.
I had to Google him. I did a lot of Googling last night to be like, who is this person?
That's probably my fault.
No, like this Will guy. I was like, who is he? And then I saw We're the Millers. So I was like, oh, I know who he is now.
Mm.
Yeah, I tried not to pick like his younger photos because I was like, these people are adults now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Try to pick adult actors for these roles.
Yeah.
Well,
Which
I
is why
mean-
Radcliffe would be great, I think.
Yeah. At least with like the aliens, you could do any age because they age differently.
Yeah.
That's true.
So you could go with her, whatever.
And you
Alright.
can throw makeup and extra arms and heads on them and whatnot.
Yeah.
Like they don't have to appear as themselves.
But yeah, I think Daniel Radcliffe is a great Arthur. And then Heart of Gold.
I picked Ella Purnell. Why? Because I love
Aw.
her and I love her acting, and I think she'd be really great at like being this really sweet robot voice that suddenly gets like when the personality changes and she's suddenly like really snippy.
Yeah.
Perfect. Like, damn, have you seen her roles? Damn.
I didn't know
Absolutely
who
hard
she
to agree.
was.
Did you
What?
see Sweet Pea?
I want to watch that so bad. I haven't started it yet, but
I've seen
want to
clips
see
of
it.
it. What? This is going
Same.
to sound like a humble brag, but I swear it's not. When I was at the Edinburgh TV Festival last year, one of the things they were really pushing was Sweet Pea, and so I've seen clips and bits of it, and I was like, I love Ella Purnell. I love the idea of this show. I need to witness it.
Yeah, I've seen snips of it, which is why like I thought of her immediately. It's like Sweet Pea, Ella Purnell, the Heart of Gold, perfect.
Yeah. Especially when the Heart of Gold does have to turn nasty.
Mhm.
Yeah,
All right, Peter, you ready?
I am very ready.
Addie says, obsessed with Jinx.
She's
Jinx
perfect
Monsoon.
as Jinx.
Did she do
No.
Jinx in Arcane?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Because when I googled her, I
thinking of-
saw the Arcane credit.
Okay.
all-
I
that's
was
all.
thinking of Jinx from Doctor Who.
And I think that was her first role? Or her
Really?
first voice acting role.
Okay.
I think so. She did phenomenal. I think it was first voice acting role, not like first acting role.
She's great though. Okay. My choice is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Starting with Arthur Dent.
Arthur Dent. For my Arthur Dent, I chose Taylor Tomlinson. The only thing I have about that is I fear she might be slightly too young, but I also feel like
No, she's
she'd
30.
be funny. You think? Oh, is she?
Yeah, she's
Okay.
Yeah, she's around our age.
Okay.
I don't know who this woman is.
She's so funny. She's a comedian. I went to go
she's
see her a
awesome.
couple of weeks ago.
What was that show like, by the way? Was it good?
Oh, it was so good. She had two openers. One of them was really, really funny. Apparently, she's also a monologue writer on Taylor's show. And she's
Okay.
coming to Toronto. But my friend is having their wedding that day. So I can't go see it.
Just pop out real quick, watch the show, come back.
Also, I assume the show is nighttime, so wedding will be done by then.
No.
So inconvenient.
Addie
Taylor
also
is
loves
not.
Taylor.
I'm glad. Taylor is not. I did not lean into a British cast. I picked cast from here, there, and everywhere. And I wonder if you sensed the theme before I revealed the theme. And I made a very specific point when I was revealing my cast to Victoria. I explained my reasoning for my cast. But I just think Taylor would be very funny as Arthur and elevate the guy asking questions to more than just the guy asking questions.
Yeah, he'd actually have a personality.
Yeah, exactly. For Ford Prefect, I chose
You don't have to wait.
Cynthia Erivo.
Oh, sorry. I was just going to say, you don't have to wait for stream to catch up. I'm doing it
Okay.
as you go. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, Cynthia Erivo.
Yeah.
For the same reason that you chose your fella for Ford, I thought Cynthia is a little bit otherworldly, a little bit mysterious, and I thought as Ford, she would absolutely bring that. And I think that some of the scenes of Ford and Arthur together, I think her bouncing off Taylor would be a really incredible energy, and I would be very excited to see that.
I think that's actually perfect casting.
Thank you. I was very pleased when I thought about it. I was like, absolutely, Cynthia. Of course, Cynthia. For who's next?
Trillion.
For Trillion Macmillan / Astra, I chose. Who did I choose? That's partly why I'm waiting on the stream so I can remember who I
Oh,
chose.
that's the wrong name. Sorry.
Oh, Chloe Feynman is who I chose as Trillion. She's mostly known as a comedian on Saturday Night Live at the moment, but again, I think she'd bring really interesting energy to it, and with Ford and Arthur, I think she'd bring more of a personality that Trillion doesn't have in the other versions. And I also like the idea because I don't know if you noticed the theme yet.
Mm-hmm.
I like the idea of Chloe as Trillion and Taylor as Arthur having a little love scene, falling in love together. Okay, who's next?
Marvin.
Marvin, I chose. Yes, I know exactly who I chose for Marvin. I chose. Fuck, her name's gone out of my head.
Aubrey
Plaza, yes.
I could see that.
Yeah. Like, who the hell else? I feel like you put a script in front of Aubrey, you say, here's Marvin, read for it. She's going to go, oh, nice. And you're going to press record for 2 hours, and everything that she says is going to be Marvin. So that's why I chose Aubrey Plaza as Marvin.
I can hear her saying, like, some of the lines.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who's next? Zaphod Beeblebrox. Zaphod, I chose. Oh, Jenna Ortega, because I realized I'd forgotten to choose a Zaphod, and I was thinking who could. I know she's typecast as Wednesday, and which is very monotone and not an active performance. But if you watch her in the Sabrina Carpenter music video, I feel like that kind of manic energy, like the speed and the movements of her as Zaphod, would really work because it's going against the typecasting that she now is. So that's why I chose whoever she is. Her name's escaping.
I actually have not seen Wednesday. Like, I know she's in a lot of, I think, horror movies.
Yeah, she's in the Scream
I've seen
series.
them. Yeah.
You should watch Wednesday. It's good.
Should I?
Yeah, it's
Is
very.
it?
Yeah, I liked it.
Yeah.
Okay.
For the voice of the Heart of Gold, I chose.
Oh
Did I choose
God, I
Benedict
changed
Cumberbatch?
it. Yeah, sorry. I used a template, and so some of the names are placeholders. Again, it was 1 a.m. I was very sleepy.
Oh, that's okay.
It's okay.
Yeah, Benedict Cumberbatch, because I feel like he has a very kind of comforting voice, and he can talk very comforting, but when he has to become the evil Heart of Gold, he will snap your tits off. And also because he is so kind of typecast as Sherlock, like fully buttoned up, like, this is who I am, we need to move quick, like a more relaxed character, like, hey guys, I'm the ship's computer, would be really funny for him. So I think he'd bring that really good energy to it. I'm sure this isn't the end of mine, is it?
I only had space for 6. I forgot to tell
Only
you.
space for 6. Okay. Oh, it's
But
okay.
you did do the old man, so you can talk about it.
chose Patrick Stewart as Slarty Bartfast because Slarty Bartfast is very up himself, and I feel like somebody with the gravitas of Sir Patrick Stewart when he's being dressed down would make that funnier. So I chose Patrick Stewart as Slarty Bartfast. And that's my cast.
Yay!
Awesome.
All right.
Now Victoria's, which I'm very excited about. Oh, and also my theme. And the reason
Oh,
I
yeah.
chose my theme is because it's an all-female cast. And I just feel like the first iteration of Hitchhikers came out in 1978. And so the men have had it for long enough. So let's let some funny women have a go at leading Hitchhikers. Let's see what happens.
I agree with this theme.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Okay.
For Arthur, I picked Arthur Darville. I don't know if it's just because his name is Arthur that he got stuck in my head, but I feel like him as Rory is actually like it works.
Yeah, Rory is basically a descendant of Arthur Dent in many
Right.
ways.
Again, Jam, you haven't watched Doctor Who, so whatever.
I don't know this man.
He's been in a lot of other things recently, but I was specifically thinking of him as Rory.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then
I was thinking what else he's been in recently.
he's been in that some priest show. I can't remember what it's called. Unless I'm thinking of someone else, but I think he was a priest.
Yeah.
For Ford, I did Danny Pudi.
Yeah.
I feel like after, like, a lot of the ones I picked are based on, like, previous characters. So I was like, it would be perfect. So a little bit of typecasting, but, like, you know what? I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
So I feel like Ahmed, Ford, I think it'd be a fun time.
Danny Pudi. I'm going to Google this gentleman and see who he is.
From Community.
Oh, from Community.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I know who he is now, yes.
And then for Trillian, so the entire time I was trying to think of someone, I was like, the only person I could think of, was Martha from Doctor Who, but I didn't know what the actress's name was.
Hey!
And so then when I got Jam, I was like, I should see who Jam picked, and I Googled it, and I was like, oh shit, it's the same person.
That's amazing.
But I was like, you know what? I'm going to roll with it because I don't know who else to pick.
Yeah, that is amazing. On a related note, so that's who you chose as Trillian. Who did you pick as Marvin, Victoria?
I picked Cole Sprouse.
What?
Specifically for Jughead Jones from Riverdale. Specifically because of his weirdo monologue. Where he's...
Well, I haven't seen it, so I don't know what this monologue is.
Oh my god. He goes on this huge ass rant about how he's so different and he's such a weirdo. And Betty, you don't understand because I'm so different and so, like, sad and depressed and different. And, I'm just a weirdo. And he just goes on, like, it's just Marvin vibes. Originally, I did think Aubrey, but then the more...
I was like, wait, what?
the more I read, I was like, no, this, like, I'm gonna send it to you. Like, it is just, it became a meme because it was just so stupid. But I was like, yes, Marvin, especially like, as soon as I got to the end, like, that locked it in for me, of like, the spaceship killed himself because I'm just so depressed. And I was like, fuck right off with that edgy ass attitude.
Okay, that makes sense because originally Victoria did pick Aubrey, and I was so excited. Like,
But yeah, the more I read, I was like, nah, weirdo Cole Sprouse. For Zaphod, I picked
Zaphod.
Sabrina Carpenter.
Really?
Yeah. So I know she's been focusing on music lately, but if you watch her Grammy performance, she does a lot of like physical comedy. And even like when I went to see her on tour, she did a lot of like physical comedy of like the mic hasn't dropped and like, so I think she'd be hilarious. I think she'd bring
the Grammys? Sorry.
I think she would bring that like physical comedy aspect into his character, and it would just add to his craziness.
That would be very funny, and yeah, I can absolutely see that now. Like, I was thinking more physical energy, but also the physicality of it as well. Was it the Grammys where she was like wearing the top hat and she did the thing with the stick and dropped it?
Yeah, that's actually what this photo is from. That's kind of why I picked it, because I was like, it's the perfect.
Yeah, I can absolutely see that now.
The only acting I've seen from her is I think she had like a Christmas special thing.
Yeah,
and she was
did
so
on
funny.
Netflix.
She's hilarious, and she started off really as an actress. Like she was in Girl Meets World, like when she was young.
It was like Disney.
Yeah,
or something?
She started off in Disney, and now she's her. So I was like, I think it'd be hilarious.
Yeah,
and especially if like she did like a little singing in like a silly way.
I was going to ask, do we want her to sing the theme song?
I don't know.
Because there is a song in the movie, but could we write a theme song for her to perform? It doesn't have to be one from the first movie, but like, do we want to get her to sing a song for the film?
If she wants.
That would be very cool.
All right, and then for Heart of Gold, I picked this with a first personality, but I was thinking Eddie Murphy. Because it was giving Donkey vibes of just being so happy and wanting to be there. And then you have the antagonistic main character who's like, fuck you and fuck your happiness. But he's like, I just want to make waffles. So I thought
that would be hilarious.
That would be brilliant. Eddie Murphy is best known as a comedy actor, but he has done a couple of serious roles and he absolutely fucking nails me. I think it was Dolomite he was in. I forget the name of the film. Something like My Name is Dolomite, and he absolutely fucking nailed it. Like, it's like Robin Williams. They're fucking hilarious, but when they go dark, they go fucking dark. And when Eddie goes dark, he is pitch perfect. So I can absolutely see him as the bitchy Heart of Gold.
Yeah, I think he could do the personality flip very, very well.
Yeah.
So that's my cast.
How would you adapt it? Would you make another film, a mini TV show, a longer length TV show? Would it just be Hitchhikers? Would you? I'm asking 7 questions at once here, but how would you adapt it?
Jam, you can go first.
100% a TV series, because just from reading the one book, I feel like it's just written as it should be, like a series of episodes. It shouldn't, like Victoria was saying, it's not in the format where it should be just a book. That doesn't read well as a book. And reading it, I was just thinking of it as like several series of things. Like, even if it was just like a podcast story. But like, I think because I want the visual aspect of it, because I prefer that, I would just go for a TV series. I don't know how long the episodes would be. I think maybe like 45 minutes to an hour, depending on how much of the like rambling I want to include in it.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely a series.
Yeah, I agree with that. What about you, Victoria?
I'll say, Peter, you're up next. You're next on my little slideshow.
I think a limited series, but like a limited series that keeps going. So 6 episodes per series of each book, which only gives us 6 series.
I mean, that's just a TV show at that point.
It is just a TV show at this point. Yes, I should have just said that. I think movie is too short for everything to be encapsulated, because I think, knowing what we know, that Douglas put different things in different iterations, you could go absolutely batshit crazy with Hitchhikers and take it way further than he ever did, which I think would be great. And I think you're going to get people who are like, this is not Douglas Adams' vision. Douglas didn't have a vision for this. Shut the fuck up. So definitely longer than just a feature film. So just a TV series, and each book would be a series.
I think, yeah, it depends how true to, like, the book, I guess, you want to be. Because as the book stands with the length, I think a limited series, you said there was, what, like 5 or 7 books?
Yeah,
we'll say
5, 6, 7 books.
We'll say 7 books. So I would do, like, 1 episode per book if they're a similar length. Because it's only 200 pages. You can only drag it out for so long. So I think maybe, like, an hour per book would be good enough. Because this is only as long as it is because it's written. Like, there's a lot of stuff that, like, visually it just goes by so much faster.
Yeah.
So I feel like hour-long episodes, 7 episodes, and then you're done. And then you can do a spin-off if you want. But
yeah. Who would you carry over into a spin-off? You have to pick, let's say you have to pick 2 characters. And I admit you haven't read the other books.
Yeah.
I can't remember what happened. We'll say just Hitchhikers. So you have to take 2 characters from Hitchhikers into a spin-off. Who do you take?
Who wants to go first with that question?
You can go first, Jam. I'll go back up to your people.
I would pick Ford because, I mean, he's working for this publishing company about hitchhiking across the universe. I want to know more about his adventures and where he's been. I think that'd be really interesting. I wouldn't choose Arthur. He's just living his Earth life. I don't give a fuck. Even if he's just, like, his adventures in the galaxy, I don't really care. I don't want to pick Zaphod, but I was more interested about him than, like, the other characters. Like, I would like to see Trillian's perspective of things in the universe, but, like, again, because I've only read the 1 book and I don't know much about her and her personality or her backstory, so I can't really imagine what else there is to know about her, so it'd probably be Ford and Zaphod.
Yeah, that'd be fun. Victoria?
Peter, you're up next.
Oh, I'm up next. Okay. I hard agree with Ford. I think Ford's other adventures would be really good to hear. And I do think, maybe I'm cheating a little bit, but I like that Ford could take Trillian and it wouldn't become a will they, won't they thing. Like, I think that would just be a platonic friendship all the way through. Like, Trillian wants to learn and Ford is teaching her, so that would be good. But I also think that's the kind of thing where you could bring Zaphod into it. Like, not every episode, but Zaphod could have some bearing on the series in some way. Arthur just doesn't deserve a spin-off. What are you going to do? Ask more questions. Marvin, I don't think would want to go, which might make it funny. Like, we dream of seeing the galaxy as humans, and there's Marvin who's being offered it, and he's like, don't give a shit. So that could be funny. So I do think probably Ford and Trillian are my spin-off characters.
I think I would go Ford and Zaphod, because I think, like Jam said, him continuing to, like, update the Galaxy book, or I guess the guidebook, you just go in so many directions, and it's like what Addie said in the chat, like, it's just characters going through hijinks each episode forever. You could go as long as you want. Basically Supernatural, to be honest.
Yeah.
That's true.
And I think, like...
Or Seinfeld in space.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
And I think, like, the Ford, like, doing that in conjunction with, like, Zaphod having, like stealing ships and just, like, getting up to no good and, like, what did he do to his brain? Can they fix it? Maybe they try while they're, like, updating the guidebook. And then when the ship breaks, maybe they go and see Trillian and, like, she's the one who fixes it and is like, guys, this is the answer to your problems. You're being stupid. She's like the voice of reason, almost.
Yeah.
And then Marvin would just kind of be like little like secondary character who's just along for the ride because he's stuck on the ship.
Yeah.
And then Heart of Gold is just, she's the ship, so she's there. And Arthur is, no one cares about him.
Yeah.
He's back on.
He's
He's back on Earth drinking his tea. He's happy, you know.
Yeah.
You could easily discuss what's happening with Arthur without having him in it. Like when they go to see Trillian, they could be like, "Oh, how's Arthur?" And she could be like, "Oh, he's in the room watching the kids. I'm out here doing whatever it is."
Yeah, I think that'd be really fun. You just never see him again.
Yeah,
it's like
he's,
you know, in like sitcoms when they have a baby, and then you just never see the baby again until they're like 7.
Yeah,
he's the baby.
That'd be
you
hilarious.
just never
he's the
see
star
him
of the
again.
first book, but then he goes away forever.
And you just
the
never
only
see
time
him.
you ever hear about him is, "Oh, how's Arthur? Oh, he's with the kids. He says hello. He wants to come, but he can't.
Yeah.
Doesn't want to or whatever."
Oh, he's at the doctor's office with the kids. Like, it's just always the most, like, mundane, basic, boring reason that he's not there.
Yeah.
I think it'd be so
But
funny.
to Arthur, that'd be so important. Like, I have to take the kids to the doctor, whereas Trillian's like, "I've seen the fucking galaxy. I do not care what you do. I'm just going to go fix this spaceship."
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. That'd be fun.
All right.
For ratings?
Yep.
Ooh.
Okay.
All right, who wants to go first?
I vote Peter.
Me too. I second.
Abstain?
No.
Is that what you say? No, that's not what you say. I don't know. What do you do when you want to say no in official terms?
Well, you can't think of it, so you
Anywho's.
can't do it.
Yes.
Two
Exactly.
against one.
Okay, but what about the voices in my head? There's like 4 of them, so it's really
No.
4 against 2. 5 against 2.
No.
There's as many voices as there are Hitchhiker books. Everyone has a different interest in them. I think if you'd have asked me 10, 15 years ago, I would have been like, this is classic, it's amazing, it's what current sci-fi is built on the backs of giants, this book stands. I would have given it like a solid 9, but I'm not that young and stupid anymore, so I'm leaning more towards a 6.5/7. I still really enjoyed it, but I absolutely see where it is way too wordy to be a book. It's definitely not cut out for book formats, so definitely 6.5/soft 7, I would say. If I had to pick one, 6.5 is where I'm going with it.
Okay.
Jim, you're up next because I'm looking for something.
Okay. The first time I read it, I think I would have given it like maybe a 7.5, maybe an 8. Right now I'm settling between like a 5.5. I want to say like a 6 because like there were parts that made me like giggle. There were things I enjoyed, but I do feel like it was just too wordy. And if I had just like picked up the book like the first time now, not when I was a kid, like the first time now, and knowing, well, I didn't know much about the book. I just knew people loved it and was like adored and hyped up. And then to read it, I think I would have felt like really disappointed and kind of confused and be like, you know, like with the questions, like how did they come up with this number of improbability? Like what the fuck's going on here? And how this plot hole here? So I think I'd settle on like a 5.5.
That's fair. I think that's absolutely fair. Victoria,
Cat is meowing.
what do you think?
I'm so
Yeah,
torn.
she's a wee witch.
'Cause,
You're
like,
torn.
Yeah, because I like the story,
Mm-hmm.
and any other medium, I think I would have really enjoyed it, and I really would have liked the comedy. I just fucking hated it. I had to read it.
Well, okay. Because you had to read it, what rating would you give it? And if you had listened to it, what rating would you give that?
Ooh. Okay, I think as a book, like a 4. I was
Okay.
very mad at the as a book. I was so angry. Sorry, I'm looking at our rating thing because I'm just typing them in as we go, so I don't have to look back and find them. I did 4 stars for Cinderella is Dead.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you hated that book.
I hated that book. So maybe 4.5.
Okay.
Because 5 is neutral, and I do not feel neutral about that book.
Yeah, you definitely had feels about this book.
I had opinions, so not neutral. So yeah, I'll go 4.5. It's a little better than Cinderella is Dead.
Okay.
If we do episode 4.5 where we watch a film and then reevaluate, I would be very curious to know how you rate the film versus how you rate the book, because I know I said this in my thing, but I absolutely agree. Looking back, it is very wordy and doesn't fit books. So,
you know what? No,
what's the average?
I'm gonna be a hater. I'm sticking to 4.
Sticking to 4.
Damn.
Because he had the chance to change it. Like, I'm acting like he didn't have free will and like he didn't have the choice to like go more in depth.
I think
he had
from
a choice.
His point of view, though, people liked it as it was, so he's like, I'll put it in a book and they can read the letters and the words.
But
They'll love it.
But Peter has said that like each adaptation is different.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
so
true.
If it had have just been, oh, this is a radio show typed up and printed, that would have been different. But he's changed his adaptations as they've gone. So like, why not you're already changing it. And you don't even have to change the plot line. Just give them more of a personality. Keep the same plot points and just go a little more in depth. So
That's
I also
fair.
just had a thought there, and I'm not trying to argue with your rating or anything. It's
go
just
ahead.
another fact to it is that when the radio show did come out, and it came first, as I've said like 17 times, but people really loved the radio show. And then the book came out, so people still had the radio show in their consciousness when they picked up the book. Whereas we're looking at it now, and it's
just a book.
Yeah, it's just a book. And looking at it from what you said about him adding bits and bobs, he absolutely could have done that, because future-proofing the book to make it stand more on its own, I do feel that he relied a lot on, oh, this is the radio show you loved, now read it. So absolutely. Hard agree.
So,
what would the average be? Victoria's 4. I am
6.5.
What am I? 6.5. And Jam is 5.
5.5.
5.5. So that's an average of about 5, I believe.
Yeah.
It's about fair.
We're neutral.
We're neutral.
Yeah. Any final thoughts
Good job.
on Hitchhikers before we wrap up? Would you
I
want to read the other books?
no.
Like, I want to know what happens in them. I do not want to read it. So
Yeah, like I think I would Google my questions, like why did Zavod do whatever he did to his brain, and how does the series end? That's about it.
Yeah.
Like, if there was like a radio show that continued the book, I don't know if the radio show keeps, like, I don't know where it stops and stuff, but like I would listen to it versus, or like watch it or whatever, versus read the next few books.
I believe, and this is going back years in my memory, I believe like the first series was very much the first book, but by then books 2 and 3 had come out. So I believe the second series of the radio show is books 2 and 3, because it was later that he did books 4 and 5. Take that with a big asterisk. I may be entirely wrong, so maybe book 2 and 3 are on the radio. I'll look into it, and if it is, I will send you the radio show.
Okay. I
have it somewhere. That's fair.
I just don't have time, to be honest.
Yeah. Speaking of time, what is the story about March's one? Because I know you're very busy, Victoria.
I mean, I'm still down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Same time next month, last Sunday at 3:00.
Are we choosing the next book today?
Yeah.
Victoria's choosing.
Yes.
So I've had one
After
book.
Victoria chooses, we'll go back to the wheel.
Yeah. I've had one book ready to go for the past like 3 months. Ever since we started Wheel Spins, I've been ready to go. But then I was talking to Jam yesterday before a stream started And I thought it would be hilarious if we all read Twilight in honor of the 20th anniversary.
Are you actually doing this?
You're not really doing this.
Excuse me? I thought that was a fucking joke. What?
I thought it'd be so much fun, and we would bond, and we would love it.
Is that your pick?
Me, Jam, and Addy would bond over how pissed off we are at you.
Okay, because I was about to be like, bitch.
No, it's
Victoria, I am old. My heart can't take things like that, okay?
What's wrong with
You
Twilight?
really did me in.
I already made us rewatch the entire the entire movie.
Yeah, so now it's my turn to make us reread the whole
Listen, Addy,
series.
Less from you.
Oh
Less
my
from you,
God.
please. Thank you.
Anyways, I still, you know what? There's still a few more months in the year. I still get another pick at least. Maybe Twilight will be after this one, because I've been
I
waiting.
bet you're gonna have a pick in October, and you're gonna pick Twilight, and I'm gonna be like, the fuck.
You know
we
what?
could-
If it fits the vibes of the whatever month I get, maybe I'll pick Twilight for the
Whatever.
It would be
Ua
kind of
season.
funny if we did do it in the month of Twilight's re-release, like whenever it came out. If we did do
No.
that.
It's not happening. What's the name of the book, Victoria? Because it's kind of like blurred.
Yeah, it's a bit.
Yeah, I
blurry.
know. I realized that. Hold on. I'm looking something up.
Okay.
Don't worry about
It's
it.
not Twilight related, is it?
No.
Oh.
Why is it so hard? Oh, October 5th,
Oh?
2005.
So we could read it. Oh, I can't in September. I'm doing the Fringe. Sorry.
October?
I'm gonna be away in October.
Where are you
I'm
going?
gonna
going to
be
be
a-
away with Jam in October.
Um. A cruise for the whole month. The whole month of October.
Mhm. And I'm in the cabin next to Jam. Like, we come out of our rooms, we pick up our newspapers, we wave good morning at each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, I'm locking in Twilight for October.
If the wheel chooses you.
Well, Addie also seems pretty hyped about Twilight, so I feel like it's a 50-50 shot at this point.
No.
Mm.
Anyways, for
Okay, what is-
March, we will be
Yes.
reading Can't Spell Treason Without T. I don't know how to make it not blurry.
I think it just doesn't want to read.
There. Can't Spell Treason Without T by Rebecca Thorne. I feel like a beauty guru. Can you see it now?
Can you see it? Can you see it? Can you
See
see
it?
it? Actually, you
Wait,
can't
now
see
I
it.
have to do it.
Did you find your copy, Jam?
No, I have to go look for it. I haven't tried yet.
That's fuck ass teal sprayed edges.
This is apparently part of a series called Tomes and Tea.
Yeah.
I feel like we maybe shouldn't advertise this on social media, or else this author will sue us. Because Tomes and Tea is a
what?
bit too close to Tea and Tails Tavern.
Oh.
No.
No. No. That's like when people. What's that like naming series that people like went off on for some reason?
Oh, was it?
You're probably thinking of it.
Was it the YouTube people? The React
What?
people? No.
No. No, I'm thinking of like a naming structure people were doing with their fantasy books. Like one author did it, and then every other
Oh.
author with their fantasy books was doing it. And I'm trying to remember what it is, but I can't.
Like Akatar?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know what you mean. All right. Addie's
Sorry, what's
excited
the
for
code
this.
again? You can't spell tea without treason. Treason.
Season.
Treason without T.
Treason without tea. None of that is correct because there's an R in the way.
Yep. So that's my pick.
What does the blurb say about it? Tell us why. Tell me
Why'd you
why.
pick it?
I've picked it because it's been on my TBR for a very long time. I bought it when I was in Buffalo in August last year. It's been sitting on my shelf ever since. And when we decided we were going to do book club, I thought it was a perfect chance to read books I already own but haven't picked up yet. So yeah, now we've got this guy. It's blurred for drama. It's on purpose.
Okay.
So yeah, that's why I picked it. Oh, the blurb you said. I've never actually read the blurb.
Okay.
Sometimes I just pick books I don't actually know what they're about, and I just start reading them. This has names I don't know how to pronounce.
Uh-oh.
All Reyna and Keonth want is to open a bookshop that serves tea while firelight drifts between the rafters. But Reyna works as one of the queen's private guards, and Keonth is the most powerful mage in existence. How convenient. Leaving their lives isn't so easy. But after an assassin takes Reyna hostage, she decides she's thoroughly done risking her life for a self-centered queen. Meanwhile, Keonth has been waiting for a chance to flee responsibility, all the better that her girlfriend is on board. Together, they settle in Tawny, a town nestled in the icy tundra near Dragon Country, and open the shop of their dreams. What follows is a cozy tale of mishaps, mysteries, and a murderous queen throwing the realm's biggest temper tantrum, while these two women discover just what they mean to each other and the world.
That sounds fun.
Yeah.
Sounds like a fun chill time. Before we go, I want to put context as to why I'm wearing a hockey jersey, because I feel like I never addressed that, and people in the VOD are going to be like, what the hell's happening? So anyways, you can't see it. I'm not tall enough. I'll go up my tippy toes. Right like this. The Toronto Scepters were playing today while we filmed this. And I was like, maybe if I put it on, they'll win. And they did. They won 2-1 against Minnesota, so fuck Minnesota.
Yay! Round of applause.
So yeah, that's why I'm wearing a hockey jersey during book club. I thought it'd be funny. It wasn't.
And they did win.
They won. It worked.
So we are, and I'm taking credit for this, even though it was you that wore it. It was like, I'm going to say at least 65 to 70% down to you wearing that shirt. So it's absolutely, we did it.
We did. We did it, team.
We
Go
did.
us. All right.
And we've done this, and we're coming in at 8, 9, 10 to 11. Less than 3.5 hours, just if we wrap up right now.
Yes.
All right.
So that's it for book club. Bye, everybody. Bye. See you later.
Bye. All right. What do we? Let's shout out you people. Shout out. We'll do Jam first. Jam, talk about yourself and go.
Oh, I'm Jam. Sometimes I stream under Blue Clovers. I say sometimes. I haven't streamed in over a year. I plan to stream sometime this week, maybe, if I stop being lazy. What do I stream? Random video games. Do I finish the video games on stream? Most of the times, no. But, I played it and I talked about it and everyone had a good time and that's what matters. Sometimes I draw. Not right now. I haven't drawn in like a year and a half. Don't ask me about it.
Damn.
Just get off Jam's dick about it, okay? Leave her alone.
Exactly. I'll do what I do when I'm ready to do it.
Jam's gonna start co-streaming Trine with me.
I will. If I remember.
Every 5 months. Oopsies.
Next.
Peter, go.
Me, I am a massive pain in the arse, and I didn't stream for like 23 days, but I streamed this week, and it was a good time. I played like 6 hours of House Flipper. It was fun.
Peter's more consistent than I am. Follow Peter.
He's more consistent than all of us combined.
He's working hard.
Consistent. This week, the 28th, is the start of a Glasgow Film Festival.
Ooh.
So that's going to be a good time.
I'll put Addie in here. She's here but not here today because she is getting ready to come to Toronto.
Hell yeah.
I wonder what that feels like. It must be lovely.
Me and Jam are going to be hanging out with Addie next week. We're very excited.
It's gonna be fun. We're going to have hotel sleepovers.
Woo! We're going to go watch hockey. We're going to go skating. Gonna have some food.
Our ass off.
Peter's gonna hate us.
We're gonna take photos and send them in the group chat on Discord.
Look at how much fun you could be having.
We'll leave space. You can edit yourself in it.
We'll Photoshop Peter in.
Amazing. That'd be great.
All right, here's book club
or-
info.
Oh, when does I was gonna say you could print out a cardboard cutout of me and just take that around.
That's too much work.
Especially in
Nowhere near
winter.
Too much work. Yeah, but I have two friends who work in a print shop.
You're too tall. Do you imagine
Yeah.
the rest of us carrying that shit
What a
around?
life-size one.
What if we just like chop it in half?
It's like a
Okay.
miniature.
Yeah, just like a miniature one. You can like put me on your foreheads and stuff. Or a Peter plushie. That'd be fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, all my friends are hanging out without me.
Yeah. But hey, at least we told you about it. We're not hanging out without you behind your back.
Yeah, you were invited, so that's not on us.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, join the Discord to stay up to date on all all things book club related. We occasionally do movie nights, but not really.
RSVP movie night.
Yeah, honestly, we mostly just talk about hockey at this point. We've moved on.
Yeah.
Move on with us. Hockey's amazing.
Times
Yay,
change.
women. That's all I got.
Yay, women on ice skates.
Yeah.
Occasionally punching each other.
It's amazing. We love it. We support women's wrongs in this house.
Yes.
Yes.
Alright, and there's my social media stuff. Have fun. I don't post anywhere. Honestly, most of us don't post on social media at this point.
Yeah.
Social media is fucking hard. I don't want people stalking my life. I'm sorry.
That's why my Instagram is just reading at this point. Like, that's... I don't post anymore. Alright, who should we raid?
Who's on?
I see
Ghost?
Yeah, I see Ghost and Wolf.
They're also streaming together.
Yeah, they're doing the same stream.
Yeah.
Go to Wolf. It's
So is
Wolf.
Sandrine.
Open a new tab.
I was about to say
doing?
Victoria's
Billboard?
live, but this is literally us.
Surprise! Alright, any last words, friends?
No. Goodbye.
I got nothing.
Alright. Thanks for being here. I'm gonna put in the raid while we do this.
Oh shit, is this going on YouTube? Like and subscribe.
Like the video if you're watching this on YouTube. Yeah, like also let us know your thoughts on the book and tell us how much you disagree with us.
By the time you're seeing this,
writing.
we'll all be dead.
Yeah.
RSVP us.
Yeah.
Look at how alive we were.
It was so nice.
I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about anymore. Let's get out of here.
So yeah, tell us what you would rate it, and if you disagree with us, and tell us how it's your favorite book, and we're awful people, and we don't know what we're talking about, and how they just let anyone have a podcast these days.
I feel like Boris Johnson himself is going to give us a call. Hitchhikers. Terrible. I'm British. Not British, I'm Scottish. Fuck you. Wait, hang up.
Alright, we're gonna go.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
Oops, wrong screen.